right, good people, back with you. Now officially into game number 1. Practice has concluded. And here we are. Midwest Youth Main Event Round 2. Right here on Bowl Stream TV. We've got a couple of pairs we'll be taking a look at throughout the weekend. 23 through 26 and 27 through 30. And you see Ryland Lessinger, Lewis Schatz over on 23 and 24. Again, this is a short lane condition, so you should see and anticipate players, righties playing closer to the gutter, lefties playing closer to the gutter as well. Depending on if there is any hook off the gutter, you may see players move a little further left and have those angles a bit straighter. Again, depending on if there is any hook on the gutter. We'll find that out as the day goes on. I will say I watched a little bit of practice, and I did see what looked to be maybe a little bit of hang off the gutter. We'll see. Here is young Joss Weems. Good to see Joss in person. It's been a minute since I've seen him. And he will break down the split and just leave a 10-pin. Will Hudson also on that pair over on 23 and 24. There's Eason Taylor already with a strike. Early double there for Eason. Nicholas Pappas Jr. on this pair along with Molly Bramble. If you are watching and you can hear me, please let me know, A, that you can hear me, and B, if you wouldn't mind letting me know where you're watching from. I certainly would appreciate that. If you got any questions about this event, you see Rhett Ryman, one of the best names in the business, too. Chase Klatt. If you have not already, folks, we certainly would appreciate it. Feel free to please subscribe to Bowl Stream TV. Make sure you turn your notifications on. Again, we'll be live all throughout the week or the weekend. The long pattern will be the challenge this afternoon. That will begin at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning we'll actually begin an hour earlier at 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll bowl on the medium lane condition with the Stepladder finals. There'll be 4 Stepladder finals, 2 in each division. We've got U15 boys and girls, U18 boys and girls as well. Scott, I appreciate you tuning in, and this is kind of exactly, one reason at least why, live stream is such an important tool and vehicle. Just for this reason, as you mentioned, unable to be here this weekend, and but you get a chance to watch. Who is your daughter, Scott, if you don't mind me asking, so we can make sure we keep an eye on her throughout the day for you. One important item to note as well, let me drop this in the chat for you. There is a way to watch. Not just the live stream, of course, but you can watch everything in between and keep up to date on what's going on with scoring. And you can do that right here. I'm going to tell you right now. So that is Lane Talk, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're unfamiliar with Lane Talk, they offer live scoring, cool stats, and such. Lane Talk has been a wonderful addition to the bowling industry in general. You may have noticed them on the PBA, in fact, every week on the PBA tour. And recently, actually as of the Tour Championship, which was in this very building 2 months ago, Lane Talk became a partner of the PWBA and the USBC. Cadillac XBC, shout out to Mick. They have Lane Talk, so you can then, Scott, your daughter is here, but you're not. So you can watch her here, but when she's not on the live stream pair, you can still watch essentially every frame through Lane Talk. Scott already has it. Well, Scott, I knew you would because you're a prepared man. Appreciate you tuning in. Hello, Robert. Robert is sitting on a golf course this morning in Decatur, photographing the state final. Hoping to see Charlie. Let's see. Robert, I don't see where Charlie is starting. But as you know, I'll keep an eye on him. Robert, that's pretty cool. You got some photography work over at the IHSA. Might have to reach out to you, Rob. All right, so as game one is underway, we welcome in our first guest. He joined me last year at this very event, and thankful he is back. Wonderful individual and wonderful person to make sure you patronize his business, and we'll talk about that in just a second because we welcome in Andy Belo to Boldstream TV. Andy, good morning.
Good morning, Neil. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure to get an opportunity to catch up with you. I feel like you are one of those individuals that, you know, you meet him for the first time, kind of like in person, right? And it's like, man, that's a good dude, right? And then you go eat at the restaurant that you run. It's like, well, it's an even better dude. How's everything going with the business?
Oh, man, everything is great. You know, it's been a really nice year. We did a remodel on the outside this summer, so we kind of finally got through that, and now that fall's here and football's here with us kind of being a sports bar restaurant, if you will. We, you know, this is kind of our time of year. So you got to see a little bit of it last night. You got the Friday Night Lights that was coming in as you guys were leaving. So, but no, everything's great. You know, it's such a great industry to be in. You know, I always tell everybody, you know, there's not too many people that everybody comes to your job to have a good time, right? They're there to eat and relax, and be with family and friends, or watch a game, and you know, so it's a blessing. It's a good job. It's, you know, it's a good career, and you know, we've got a great town here that supports it, you know, and makes it easy for, you know, me to get involved and give back to other things too when you know that they're going to help out too. So it's a great thing.
Yeah, last time we were here, obviously, and first of all, shout out to the Youth Bowl Scholarship Foundation here in Waterloo. Oh, yeah. Angie Erickson, Brandon Steen, Matthew McConney, Ann Bridson, Josh Steer, Kelly. There's so many people that helped put this event on and put it together. And it was so good last year. Of course, they ran it back, which is why they dubbed it round number 2. And just looking at the field, and you always anticipate it to be filled with young stars, which it is. But I feel even this year, and they sold the event out.
Yeah,
there's more young stars.
Yeah.
Has anyone? And I know it's early, but has anyone kind of just, you say, wow, maybe I didn't see this person last year, or I have seen them, but they're already better than the last time.
You know, 2 people just obviously being down this part. Rhett right here. I don't know if I've seen him live in action before, but man, he throws it really good. And then Vicky Andrews down on 21 and 22.
Okay.
She gets it, man. She does not get cheated. She's got to be in the 20s. I'm guessing. But ball speed,
right?
She's got to be around 20 miles an hour.
I was watching her during the practice session.
And she's got some roll on it too. So it's not like it's a knuckleball going down there. So yeah, there's a couple people now. So Joss is right here. You know, it's always fun watching Joss. He's an all-star, man. So I'm here. I'm you know, as a bowler, I'm here watching, trying to learn something. Maybe I can figure something out for my game. So.
It's Gracie French just right off to the right of the camera here on 27.
Yeah.
Up to a good start. Gracie and her family from Joliet, Illinois. They bowl a lot of the Elite Youth Tour events in the Chicagoland area. Rhett Ryman, I talked about him early as I was announcing who was on 23 through 26, but that's just a great name. Rhett, I mean, he's
made
just
for
born,
TV.
born
Made
to
for
be.
TV.
Exactly. His parents, they got that one right. Man.
Yes, nailed it.
Excellent name. There's Lewis. It's a good shot from Lewis. I was talking about also sporting the round 2 version of the High 5 Gear or H5G brand jersey, which is one of the sponsors of this event. H5G, ADS Recycling, the Greater Cedar Valley USBC, and Rotogrip. And that's not all, certainly. The other place, Hampton Inn. There are several sponsors to keep in mind, obviously Cadillac. But I was looking at the pattern, right? Short pattern. I've learned in the last year or so that short patterns aren't as quote unquote easy as I once thought they used to be, if that makes sense, right? No longer typically can you just kind of throw it to the gutter and watch it hook. You've got to really be paying attention to where your ball's hooking, certainly early, but also down lane. And I've seen a few shots kind of hang near the gutter already during practice. I'm wondering how that's going to shape as we get through this 5-game block.
Yeah, especially with what I've seen with some of the urethane, anything going left to right towards that gutter area is just, it's not coming back. I mean, even here watching Molly on 25, it looked like she threw something resin pretty straight up 5, and it just kind of laid there. So, whether it's maybe not enough surface yet for that part of the lane. But yeah, you're kind of seeing. I honestly thought I would see more urethane this morning, just walking in, not knowing.
Right.
What the pattern exactly looks like, and what the I think it's probably around 25 mils if I had to guess. From talking with Brandon, kind of sounded like everything was in about that vicinity, but yeah, anything left or right of about 6 is see ya.
I'm trying to remember what the characteristics were of the building, and there's the pattern, folks, on your screen. It is 35 feet, 24.38 mils, and so that ratio 1.59 to 1. That's a pretty difficult ratio in the grand scheme of it.
It is too, and the other thing that I noticed that stands out to me is that drop brush at 32. So yeah, the pattern is only 35 foot, but there's a lot of oil close to the end of the pattern. A lot of times, you'll see a pattern, is, XYZ, it's 40 feet, but, they really aren't putting any oil into the pattern after 28 feet. When you start getting this much oil towards the end of the pattern with the brush, even just setting back down and applying oil, that's probably where we're seeing that hang until we carve off the end of that pattern a little bit. The balls are just going to kind of float.
You saw it a little bit right there from Josh.
Yeah, that was a good shot.
It was.
Yeah. And, and that's where, and it's obviously it's hard to tell, too, from back here a little bit, but it almost looks like maybe some of these urethanes just don't quite have enough surface on them yet. Or maybe they got fooled a little bit in practice yesterday,
that the practice session is one of those, can be tricky items, if you will. Big spare. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And there you see the flatness of the pattern.
Correct. And the 35 feet.
Right.
Left side spares on the short patterns are always just brutal, I mean, you get even a plastic ball a little bit. You get it a little left target with a little rotation, and it doesn't take much to get going. So. Easton here on 25. This is my first time that I remember seeing him. Throws it really good. Wow.
I have been blessed and privileged to watch the Elite Youth Tour.
Sure.
And so Easton, Joss, Will Hudson, Gracie French, many of the players who are competing this week also compete on that tour.
Gotcha.
And so I've become, I get a chance to see them on a regular basis. So for me, it's just, I'm always looking at, from this event, there's tons of young players that I don't know. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I always get a chance to see if, what's new about a player that I do know. What's new about their game.
Right. Right.
What looks different, whether it's, they're just growing, right? And they can just maybe get a little bit more on it now, or they throw it harder now.
I was literally just talking with one of our junior bowlers the other night, and, I think he's probably coming out of about a 6-inch growth spurt. He's just talking about how he's been bowling terrible this year, and I said, hey, be patient. I said, I had a I think I remember having a summer where I looked like a baby deer trying to play baseball one summer, you know, because it's kind of the same thing. You know, I couldn't hit a ball. I couldn't catch it. I couldn't round the bases. I was falling down, you know, it's just part of it, you know. So just keep working on your fundamentals, and it'll all click back together, you know. It's tough.
It is. It's wild to think, you know, those are things that we all go through. But, you know, as we certainly get into our adult years, you don't really think about that until either you have your own child or you're in this environment and you watch the youth grow over multiple years.
Yeah.
And you say, I know Coach Steen was talking about Rush. He's gone through it within this last year.
He's so tall. He's so tall. It's crazy. He came in, that was about a couple months ago. I hadn't seen him for most of the summer, and he walked in the ball. I was like, holy smokes. I'm like, where'd you come from, you know?
A shot from Nicholas Pappas. And a couple of player names that hope to give you some additional information about. Some players and their parents were kind enough to kind of fill out a live stream bio, if you will.
Nice.
So we're giving a few more details about some of the players you will be seeing throughout the weekend. A softball jersey there for Rylan as she crosses over. I've seen that jersey. I don't know whose that is. Like, I think that's like a player replica jersey, but
sure.
I've seen it on a lot of players.
Yeah.
It's Kylie Miller. Maybe a little Black Widow pink urethane right there. Will Hudson from Central Illinois. He's won a few times on the Elite Youth Tour.
Soft. Wow. Really soft on the bottom of it.
He is coached and gets his equipment drilled by Kayla and Danielle Vandermeer. Okay. Two former Nebraska products, college bowling perspective. Clark Bonnewell.
Yeah, I was just watching him a couple shots here. He's got something figured out.
We'll move over to 27-28 when Clark is up next, because he is playing them right. It does look like I'm not completely familiar with all of Motive's equipment, but I'm thinking that's their maybe polycell. It's not a full urethane, but it's that polycell material.
Tank. The tank. Yeah, I know they've got a couple different variations of that. You know, but here's, for example, a strategy watching Gracie on 27. You know, looks like she's throwing a big ASIM, but doesn't have a ton of surface on it. So it just kind of rolls and lays there. And, you know, that kind of makes sense on a short pattern like this. You know, she's trying to keep it in front of her, and, you know, she's just letting the weight block kind of shape it. And, you know, the cover doesn't have a ton of shine or a ton of surface to it, so it just kind of rolls. And she's obviously probably bowled, has some experience on a pattern like this, and, you know, you figure out what works for you, you know, and she looks great. She's throwing great shots, though, too. She's been pretty consistently splashing them, and then now that last shot there, she stuffed it in there pretty good. So
that's my man Prey Lawson. I remember watching Prey last year compete. He's over on 29 and 30.
Another great name.
Absolutely.
I mean, man, some of these parents are really smart, man. I don't know if I put that much.
I would say, man, and I went back to Rhett specifically because I wanted to see, you know, again, just how this right side, or I should say near the gutter, is going to play on both sides, lefties and righties. I gotta give a shout out to my wife on names. She, well, our first son, there was, you know, if it was going to be a boy, there was automatically his name was going to be Emil. Period.
Yeah.
Like that was happening.
That was a wrap. Huh?
Yep.
All right.
So she kind of had the full reign on boy number 2.
I like it.
names.
I like it.
And it came down to Enzo,
all right,
or Bronx. And I'm like, I like them both.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we name him Bronx, people, you know, as he grows up, people just going to keep asking him, you know, what's up, B? Like, where you from, B? You from the Bronx? Like, he's from New York.
New York, yeah.
So we went with Enzo.
I like it. And then you got 2 E's. You got another E.
Yes.
I like it. And I would be in trouble if I didn't give a shout out to my wife. We have our little girl, Hope. I don't know if she's watching or listening right now, but I don't want to be getting in trouble when I get home. So we came up with that name together for her. So
Oh, Scott, what's your daughter's name? Did you drop that in the chat and I missed it? Carrie. Where is Carrie? Okay. Let's get you Carrie right here.
Oh, working on a turkey.
There she is. There's Carrie.
Nice shot. Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Scott? It's funny. So I was watching Carrie practice yesterday. She was actually in this vicinity. And I'm not sure if it was Mom, but she had someone on FaceTime watching Carrie's practice session. And Dad, I'm just, I want to throw it out there. I don't know, right? But, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Maybe it was Dad. Dad couldn't be here, so we got a little FaceTime, checking out the practice session. Everyone is moving 2 pairs to the right, so Carrie will be moving down to 33 and 34. I don't think she'll make it back to this direction by the time the block is over. But that's where lane talk does come into play. It does help me in that sense where, because I always kind of feel somewhat, not bad per se, but it's like, I'd love to have every pair covered. Sure. But when I can't, certainly in my small operation, hopefully as it grows, we'll get into the bowl TV mode, if you will.
Yeah.
But there's Clark. If that's the worst break of the day for Clark.
Just looking up at his game, he's on the scores there. He's either got a strike or a 9 count. Obviously, he cleans up those 2 single pins that he misses, and he might be the leader in the clubhouse here. I don't know. It's obviously a couple strikes, a couple strings down here a little bit, but wow. That's if you can, when they're this tough and this flat right out of the gate, and you can just keep hitting the 1-3 like that, you're setting yourself up for success, that's for sure.
Clark is from Dixon, Illinois. All right. Saw his dad here. He's just to our right. Enjoys disc golf. I actually know a couple people who enjoy disc golf as well.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite bowlers, E.J. Tackett and Andrew Anderson. For Clark?
He's a motive guy.
He is. Works with a few coaches, Andrew Anderson, Richard Shockley out of Rockford. One of the few gold coaches, actually, in the business. And Deandra Asbay.
He's got some good coaches.
That's a pretty good start there. Yeah, missed a couple single pins, unfortunately, but
195 is not going to hurt him.
In the grand scheme, he's probably got maybe the best. We'll take a look at Lewis here.
Yeah.
And Lewis Shantz has got a nice look. He was throwing a purple hammer.
Yep.
Let's take a look at Lewis.
I'm going to guess that was probably just a border to right of target, or maybe he touched the side of it a little bit, but that wasn't far off.
Scott Carey did finish with 188. In case you missed the final score, she's going to be moving to lanes 33 and 34. You can follow along via Lane Talk. That's a good spare. It's not easy, too.
No.
Josh found himself a double.
And
get some help.
Threw it really good and left that 9 pin. Really good.
Folks, please don't be afraid to share the broadcast today. Share them all here this weekend. Let everyone know what you're watching. And we're here all weekend long. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Got Andy Belo in the building with me to start my day. There's Will Hudson. Molly Brand with an early or a late double, I should say, looking for 3. That's just that little spot, man.
Yeah.
If it's not getting into that roll early, if you just miss it by a little bit, you could be in trouble. You just kind of hope to break down whatever split you may leave. Yeah. A washout that's, quote unquote, every washout is makeable. That's why they're not splits, but some are much better than others.
I would tend to argue that. Yeah, Rhett's got a look. I said 7th frame over here. I mean, he probably got a board or two right. Otherwise, he's been living in the 1-3.
There's Morgan Andrews stepping up on 24.
Hey, you're gonna see lots of those today. Lots of crossovers. It's
We'll
just
take
too
it.
easy to do.
Pappas, that's got to push a little.
Yeah.
Good break. Kylie Miller not wasting any time. Lewis right there as well.
Good shot. Oh man.
It's interesting watching this unfold. Again, short patterns. That's kind of been one of my key takeaways of watching bowling in the last couple of years. It's just the way short patterns have changed regarding how they're designed. And you know, I think about pattern E before it was renamed to Cheetah.
Yeah.
When the PBA came out with their lettered patterns.
The PBA bumper bowling.
It was just throw it to the gutter.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do is get it there,
Man.
and you were at least going to get to the pot.
Yes.
And they went to Cheetah, and then after a few years, you start to see that change a little bit as well.
Right.
Kind of take away, like, hey, I just can't throw it to the gutter anymore. There's
Nice pickup.
have a little strategery to that, if you will. Indeed, nice pickup. Speaking of washouts,
Yeah.
good shot there for Will Hudson.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting in a year when the new hardness rule kicks in with the PBA Tour. If they're going to adjust any of their patterns, are they going to let them stay? That's going to be really interesting to see what comes of that.
Miss left there for Eason. I'm guessing here, but Joss is. I won't even call it a correction, right? Because I'm not sure he made a mistake. I don't know if he didn't throw it well, etc. But I do feel like he's found the right place on the lane where he needs to see his ball hook mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like, honestly, he's actually went a little left and maybe just softened up the speed a little bit and shaping what appears to be a pitch black or like a short pin IQ2 or whatever he's throwing, but he's letting the oil at the end of the pattern kind of push it to the spot, and then he's got, he's in left of the track a little bit where that flat spot's making it hook. So yeah, I think he took a good approach to start. It looked like he was trying to get up the boards on it a little bit more, but like I said, just with his rev rate or maybe the surface on his ball or whatever it was, just wasn't quite matching up. But man, that's a pretty serious adjustment. Obviously, I know he's an accomplished youth bowler with a lot of experience, but that's a big time move. There's a lot of people that struggle to make that move.
I want to give a shout out to Chase Cladd, who just finished up with 167. Chase is from Ames, Iowa, attends Gilbert High School, and loves anything agricultural related with Mrs. Miller at school. So apparently Mrs. Miller is going to have a profound impact on Chase's maybe even future.
Sounds like he's going to be going to Iowa State. Iowa State's a well-known ag school, college here. So it sounds like and he lives in Ames. He's on the right track.
That's pretty cool.
He might be in the right spot.
I mean, literally just from that sentence, you can tell we already know the importance of teachers, but he wrote anything agricultural with Mrs. Miller. That says a lot.
He's found a good one, yeah.
And anyone else who's a teacher out there, shout out to you. Lewis in the 200s now. Another one here could put him in the 220s or have a chance to. Almost through the nose, but a great game. Had a gutter spare in frame 2 and did not allow that to affect him whatsoever. That's great mental stability right there. So he'll at least start with perhaps 2-0. Rhett's going to be in the 230s.
That is a good game. That's a really good game.
234 for Rhett Ryman.
I was trying to see what he was throwing. Trying to watch my come through the ball return here.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask Roto Schlim at some point.
He's right next to you.
Yes.
Far away.
I was trying to see what ball Rev is
So 234 at least in our vicinity.
Yeah.
Looks to be the high game. We've got some players already in the game 2. We'll take a look at those players on 27 and 28 in a moment. We talked about Vicky earlier. We'll get a chance to see Vicky on 27 and 28. Hook a little bit ball.
Yeah.
And that is the one thing for sure on this pattern. Does look like an IQ tour there from Rhett.
Okay. Yep.
It's, when you get it right early, definitely you'll have some trouble.
And you know that's where the crossover Brooklyn. That's not a that's a good miss. I mean, at least you give yourself a chance. You know, 3 off the rack right is not, or worse. You know, isn't ideal.
It was on a strike, so Nick does not lose any count. Back to the well to see what was available out there. We'll begin with 168. Big shot there for Joss.
Yeah.
Joss trying to save 170. That'd be a big save to start this block.
Great score.
This is a format that Joss and many players too, not just Joss, but many players are familiar with. The EYT Battle Royale formatted in very similar fashion. 3 patterns. You bowl 2 squads in one day. The next the next group or squad pattern, excuse me, on Sunday, and then some type of finals. The SYC Storm U Championships, similar format, 3 patterns, generally a short, medium, long, etc. So
Sure.
a lot of players even kind of familiar with that. Andy, they know how to pace themselves, know what they're looking for in a block. They know, obviously, got plenty of games left. You can't win it today.
Well, especially when you're bowling on challenging patterns like this, and it's not a score war where, you go shoot 190 and you're, 70 out of cash after the first game. Instead 190, you're in it. And it's a really great learning experience for these junior bowlers. That is for sure.
Joss finishes with 164. Would be remiss. I mentioned it was great to see Joss. I hadn't seen him. Always got to give a shout out to the Weems family. My man, Dr. Weems, Josh's dad, of course, passed away a couple months back suddenly. And so that one's still getting everybody. It's still a bit of a shock as well. So good to see Josh and his mom, Sharon. Mrs. Weems is here this week, and appreciate them. Shout out to Dr. Weems up high. It's been a tough couple months for a lot of really good people in the bowling industry.
Mr. Chrisman here this recently. That's tough.
Chrisman, Mark Anderson, who was also a very, very big component of Storm and what they did. And if you bowled the Open Championships and he stopped in the Storm booth, you always saw Mark Anderson there. Or if you just happened to be at the National Bowling Stadium, which is where Pro Shop was, you saw him. Supper as well. So, and for anyone else who has gone through recent deaths in the family, always thoughts and prayers to you. It can be very difficult, but I've learned that there's always some level of resiliency, but when you get in an environment like this, and the family environment, we know bowling is like literally one large family.
It is, and honestly, just if I could for a second, we actually had a local bowler here that died of cancer. He was only 50 years old, Larvis Jones Jr. Has 2 daughters that still bowl junior leagues. He was an avid bowler himself. He used to take a couple of us teams down to Omaha to go bowl the TNBA because he used to live down there. And, so now a bunch of us know people down there for the TNBA. And it just, it was a tough week, but, Tuesday, it was a Tuesday service, and you look behind you, you look around at the service, and it's just full of bowlers, and he just touched so many people, and he'll be missed, that's for sure. He fought for a long time, so.
Appreciate speaking of family, right? So of the wonderful people I've met, streaming youth bowling specifically, you know, Mrs. Starkey, Abby Starkey's mom is behind me, and Gianna Brandolino's sister and mom are here. G's bowling, Abby's bowling. And then Mrs. Jordan, Landon's mom, Landon and Griffin's mom.
Yep.
They are here, and I'd asked Coach Steen a couple days ago, hey, can I bring some taffy apples with me? My son's got a fundraise, and you know, can I sell a few apples while I'm here? He said, yeah, no problem. We'll buy some too. And so I saw Landon's mom this morning, Christina. I said, hey, I need a favor, and Tony was there too. I said, hey, I need a favor. Do you like, you know, taffy apple, caramel apples, whatever? And they said, yeah, you know, can you buy some? Son's selling some fundraising. I said, yeah, but we'll sell them for you. Don't worry. And I was like, you don't need to do all that. And they've rounded up.
Good looking out, right?
They've rounded up Mrs. Starkey and some kids from the Brandolino / Starkey / French families, and they're just now going up and down. I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
So it's now it turned into a, well, I guess you better get one before it's sold out.
Good.
I do got one more box in the car. So.
I was going to say that. Little they know you got 8 more boxes in the car. This is going to be perfect.
All right, checking in on 27 and 28, along with 29 and 30. There's Allison Roberts. Allison, one of the good youth bowlers in the Rockford, or specifically, I should say, in the city of Rockford in Illinois, just outside of Chicago. She is on. She's actually on the same high school team as Ashlyn Tevis, and those are 2 players who I believe they're still in the U15. Well, they might be U18 now. Actually, now that I say that, but it's rare to have 2 of the same, or 2 really good players, obviously on the same team. They travel a lot together to bowl tournaments. I think Ashlyn is now somewhere nearby. We watch Vicky Andrews. I feel like she bowled this tournament last year as well, as I'm trying to remember.
You know, the other thing, too, that I've been trying to watch just from being here and bowling here locally, this upper end of the house tends to usually just be a little tighter.
Okay.
Maybe our ball's a little cleaner, however you want to look at it. You know, and then watching, just kind of seeing some people maybe look a little fooled after some shots. You know, look like they thought they threw it pretty good, and you know, maybe 2-4-5 or you know whatever the leave was. You know, and the low end of the house tends to just be a little more friction in the front. Probably get the ball to shape a little easier, maybe on a pattern like this, than on the longer pattern. I would think the higher end should play a little easier, where the low end might get a little trickier later in the block. But
that's so interesting. That's always that one factor, like along with topography.
Sure.
Where that's just kind of not in your face, right? Topography is not in your face unless you bowl an event. For example, if you bowl a USBC national tournament, like the Masters, the Queens, there's typically a topography chart, right, that they do provide the players. But, you know, for players at this level, there's probably a select few who know and or understand that concept. But many of them are obviously getting it and in a much better situation to be able to apply it. But the house characteristics, you know, it's like a lot of players on tour, you know, we generally get in on a standard event. We get in on a Wednesday, try to set up what we can. Practice is on Thursday. You see a lot of players get in on Wednesday, bowl a game or two, get a few shots, get the legs underneath. Great spare there from Tyler Reeves representing Wartburg, who is also represented. They've got a college table down here.
Yes.
Wartburg now led by Alexis and Brandon Runk, which is in Waverly, Iowa.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep, about 10-15 minutes north of here.
Oh, wow. So that close.
Yeah, Alexis and Brandon are in our scratch league on Thursday nights now, and so just, you know, it's great going up against Brandon and lefty that can play fourth arrow on house shots, and just, you know, I bowled him. I got the luxury of bowling him first night of the league, and he shoots 801 right out of the gate against me, and I think I had like 700 and went 0 for 4. Thanks. See you later.
That's great.
Yeah. But I tell you what, great people. Super, really, really nice people.
Oh, maybe.
One time?
This group bowling pretty quick here. Jace Pine on a 4-bagger. You mentioned Tyler with the big split conversion.
I thought I heard him say there was like 2 or 3 pair that only have 5 bowlers.
That is
so,
correct.
Yeah, they're flying along.
Too, and they're striking.
And they're I was gonna say, and they're throwing some strikes. They're gonna go really quick.
Up in there as we watch Jace. See how Jace is electing to play him here. Nice jersey.
Yeah.
All right, a little slower with the purple hammer.
Yeah.
I like that approach.
Yeah.
He's a little further left. That ball is like kind of tracking up 12-ish from this angle.
And there again, too, not a lot of surface on that purple hammer. It's a little shiny, you know, where you got Trey on 23 there that's throwing a purple hammer with some surface. So we got a local we got a celebrity in.
We do, and we'll get you to Trey here in a moment.
Yeah.
He was just coming off, or just came off an appearance on national television. Oh. He won the PBA LBC Open Division for $25K.
He crushed him.
You got that right. He and Liz Johnson, actually, as you saw Joss just carry another 9-pin. Trey and Liz Johnson actually tied for the highest 6-game total. They were in separate divisions.
Yeah.
And of course, so Trey got the big check, if you will.
Yeah.
But
nice.
There it is for Chase.
Needed that.
Here's Allison, as we talked about. Allison from Roscoe, Illinois. Again, goes to Harlem. She is a sophomore. So I guess depending on birthday, that would determine certainly which division she is in. She is led by Richard Shockley and her dad as well. Lots of titles for Allison.
She throws it really nice.
Good spare, too. Hey,
Yeah.
what age were you when you shot your first 300 game?
Oh, 14?
Guess what age Allison was when she shot her first 300?
Probably about like 11.
12.
12, yeah. Wine UDOT for me, by the way.
Wine UDOT.
Wine UDOT.
I don't believe Allison was born when that was.
No, I'm sure none of these kids were born when I did that. Yeah. You always remember your first couple big ones, right? I had my first 700 with the yellow dot. And then I went like 8 years until I had my second one, my second 300.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting on. I'm waiting on number 2, and it's been 2005.
Number 2 was in this building.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, the honor scores are weird. They come in, it feels like, you know, the longer you haven't had one, then the tougher it gets, and then you get that monkey off of your back, and then all of a sudden they just kind of start, they can kind of start rolling again. You just never know.
I think the key is to probably bowl
Well,
to have that chance, which is what I don't do.
yeah. Unfortunately, you're not getting any better through osmosis. Just sitting here and absorbing bowling talent.
I've bowled. I'm supposed to bowl Sundays.
Yeah.
And I've bowled once, but I haven't actually bowled a real league session. The team had to make up a session, so I was able to bowl. That's the only time I've been able to bowl this year so far. I've been much busier this year than last, which is good, but I actually kind of did want to bowl.
Yeah.
I realized that I'm probably going to have to change the day that I bowl league.
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask, so covering bowling and working with bowling all the time, do you, I mean, I guess since you don't get to bowl a lot right now, you probably miss it, but like when you are kind of actively bowling, say, and doing all this, do you get excited to go bowl still, or you just kind of like, does it feel like work sometimes?
It comes in waves, if you will, right? Like there are days where I'm super excited and I actually do want to go bowl.
Yeah.
And then there are days where, maybe after a long event, right, there's decompress and it's like, yeah, I'm good on the bowling center for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the fact that I haven't been able to bowl a league is playing a role in like, okay, I actually do want to bowl. Like I'm supposed to be bowling, but I can't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of playing with me in that sense as well. Jay's Pint, though, he's been ready to bowl. Hook a little. Single pins, unfortunately, have been a little bit of a bugaboo for a couple of players. And I always try to remind folks as we watch it, you have to remember that, these are youth bowlers still.
Absolutely.
So they are still learning. They know that youth or single pins are of utter importance.
Sure.
And they will get there in that regard.
Well, if you watched any of the PBA team on FS1, there were plenty of pros that were missing 9 spares.
It happened a lot.
There was a lot of 9 whips.
Happens at the professional level.
Yeah, so, and obviously I can remember as a junior bowler, specifically, you stone a 7, you stone a 9, and you just mentally maybe aren't quite as tuned in as you need to be. You're still thinking about why didn't I carry that while you're shooting the spare, and things like that. So it's a learning process, that's for sure.
It's a quality game here from Tyler Reeves.
Yeah.
Spare is going to get him to 221.
One of my favorite things, though, is I watch, especially when things maybe aren't going the junior bowler's way, and you can tell that mom or dad had maybe given them a suggestion, and then they go up and do it, and it didn't work, and that look you get.
As a look.
I remember doing that. I remember that many a times.
That's great. Saw a few looks yesterday during the practice session.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're talking about Allison's 300 game, her first at 300, first at age 12. The second came at age 15.
Wow.
High game or 3-game series of 795. The high 6-game series for her is 1478. Ton of EYTs, as I mentioned, a couple of Wisconsin Youth Bowling Tour titles. I think the last time I saw her put some info down on a bio sheet, she had some aspirations of maybe going to, I feel like Nebraska, but she is undetermined at that moment. But I guarantee that she will be, or have the opportunity, I should say, to go to whichever school that she would like to go to.
Her release is really good. She's obviously kind of trying to find to get comfortable here on this pattern right now. She just looks uncomfortable at the present moment. But I mean, you can watch her come off of her hand. She does it great. That's a really nice shot.
Nice shot. Skylar Petz. We'll see Skylar in a moment. We'll get you over to 23 to 26. Skylar, spare strike, spare 3-bagger.
Yeah.
For the young athlete from Des Plaines, Illinois. Saw her parents in attendance this week also.
And I'm not starting to wonder, just by watching, it looks like there's some kind of migrating left a little bit. And with some of the oil at the end of the pattern, I wonder if we maybe just didn't get a little carry down where the balls are just starting to get a little cleaner to the spot. And you're seeing people, even not only are they moving in, but they're keeping it in too.
Right.
They're, a 35-foot pattern, break point around 10 board, for a lot of people, you would think that would be running away Brooklyn, at being that close to the head pin at 35 feet. But man, it's just kind of laying there right now.
This is one of those, I'm imagining this, or I'm saying it, I guess, from my own perspective, as Trey does the job, where you'd like to, I feel like I'd like to bowl or see this pattern again, right? And I'd be curious if the players, they said, hey, you only get 5 games on it, but would you like to bowl another block on it, or A, what did you learn? And then would you want to go bowl another 5 games and kind of put those tools into work, if you will?
Sure.
Folks, if you have any questions out there while you're watching, please let us know. Any questions about the event, the format, of course, 5 games on 3 different lane conditions. We'll be bowling, of course, our short pattern, 5 games here. Then we'll come back after a break, 2 p.m. this afternoon, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then we will bowl on the long pattern. I believe that is 46 feet, if my memory is correct. Medium pattern tomorrow morning. 5 games again, and then after those 15 games in each division, Again, U15 boys and girls, U18 boys and girls will have 4 stepladder finals. All going down between lanes 23 to 30. So a lot of action to take place. I want to give a shout out to Jake McCann.
Oh, yeah.
Who is kind of the, I guess, all-around guru, if you will, for Cadillac XBC, maybe even Maple. I think he does some stuff at Maple, too. Whether it's, running cable or building stuff or deconstructing things. Specifically for us, I was here for the PWBA Tour Championship with Bowl TV, and he was trying to help us as best he could that week with the internet, and there was some troubles. I was here obviously testing yesterday for this event, and then I was connected in one place. It seemed a little iffy, so he took the cable that was already in the ceiling and just moved it all the way over here, then ran another line, actually, so one that could remain in this area. There is a lot of live streaming that takes place between myself. Joe Engelkiss runs the fall and winter classics every night.
Mike Flanagan.
So Mike is here for the Inside Bowling all the time. So it's actually a decent amount of live stream that happens either here or at Maple.
Yeah. And
I appreciate Jake for being one of those individuals who he's a live streamer's best friend, if you will. Hello, John. Appreciate you tuning in. Met John Chapman last night. Andy, and I knew he looked familiar, right? But I'm like, man, he looks. I think I told him that, and then he said, "Oh, I think Chris told me." It was AJ's dad.
Yeah.
Like, how about that?
Yeah. John was obviously when he bowled a lot back in the day, he was really good, really tough. They owned the center over in Manchester here, about 45 miles straight east of here. So, and I remember seeing AJ when he was about, 13, 14 years old, and went, whoa, this is different. This is different. You don't just teach that, but AJ, he bowled nationals with him a few times. He was part of our group out at USBCs, and good dude, really good guy. And so John and Sheila. Sheila got a lot of TV time at the PBA League. She was a super fan behind his team.
Okay.
She was cheering and having a good old time back there. So yeah, they're great people. Yeah.
I don't remember the first time I saw AJ throw a bowling ball, and I don't think it was in person. I think it was via video, but same reaction. It's just instantaneous, kind of your mouth drops.
I don't know if I've ever seen him not in balance at the foul line.
It's unbelievable, man.
You know what I mean? It's just how. I mean, if I can post a couple shots a game, I'm pretty excited.
And I'm not just saying this, John, because you're watching. This is true. Seriously, to me, he's one of the top five physical games on tour. To me,
yeah, it's flawless. I mean, his balance and the arm swing it's there.
Trey Henriksen with 4 in a row. Hello, David. By the way, that's a good, very good observation too, David. Let's throw the pattern back up on the screen for a moment. David said that the fire and ice combo can really change the characteristic of a pattern. You're right. Those are obviously 2 different types of oils that do 2 different things. Right, fire, and they are as they sound. Ice a little bit slicker. Fire tends to kind of remove itself quicker, if you will, and we're not even talking about terrain, right, for example. But that's a great point and a great observation there, which could lend to what we see a little bit right here. Where I'm trying to put myself in the athlete's perspective right now, where I would be playing, and I know I'd be trying to play right, but the angles really might have to be straighter through the front, or if let's say you throw urethane, let's watch Trey do it.
Yeah, that ball, you could see it reading it, just kind of went.
And so Joss was on this pair, right, on 23 and 24.
Yep.
And Joss was able to get it I feel like probably 7-ish, give or take, about 30 feet before. Well, that look seemed to be the best look for Josh. Anthony Swanson.
The one thing I noticed with Trey, that purple hammer has got some surface on it. Where Josh's pitch black, I don't know if it quite had that much surface on it. It's a little harder to tell on that ball. The purple hammer is really easy to tell how much surface is on. They look pearl when they're shiny. They really do. You know, that's got some surface on it.
Nice job by Skylar.
Yeah, she's got a look. I mean, she's almost, it's almost like she's using the hold that's been created. You know, she kind of found, you know, I always feel like on the short patterns, a lot of us are always trying to find the bump.
Looking for the friction.
Looking for the bump.
Yep.
Well, when it's not there, okay, well, if there's not bump, then there's probably got to be a little hold somewhere, and she's playing it.
You know what's funny? And by the way, Robert, if you are watching, Charlie is on 20 away from the Golf State Final. Bowling League. If we watch Nick Sachs there take care of the count. League for me, when you like literally being full time as in the bowling industry since like 2016 has been, and I took like a 5-year break from league. But I did learn and kind of know, like, oh, okay, I've seen this on tour, or when this happens on tour, the players tend to lead. Now, I've simplified it by kind of almost by default, right? I've got one ball.
Okay.
I've got one ball.
All right.
I've got plenty to drill, but just one ball. But I just don't have time, theoretically, to get to the shop, right? And so I get a ball or two drilled, like what you just talked about.
Do that.
And most of what I do is just kind of hand manipulation. You know, Roto Grip is a sponsor. I do throw my last new ball was like a Hustle Charcoal.
Sure.
And you know that entire line I do is just kind of mental bowling. I'm like, all right, I know I can do X, Y, and Z with this ball, right? Or so I can't really get too far left because I'm gonna lose something, right? But I can't do watch these players, Andy, at this level do what they do and kind of move about a block like professionals do now. It's crazy to me.
They're so far advanced to where, you know, obviously I haven't been a junior bowler for 20-some years now, you know.
Oh, sure.
But did all right, and, you know, kind of a pretty decent idea what I was doing. But these youth bowlers now, man, they losing there. And you talk about like manipulating hand positions and changing speeds and just, you know, you know, I'm sure YouTube probably gets worn out, you know, and TikTok. I'm sure they're watching and learning, you know, and it's just their knowledge. They're just so more advanced at such a young age. It's really impressive.
Karsten Guess.
Yeah. He's got a nice game.
He does. That's a big shot, too.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I've seen Karsten. Let's see if he's got some extra info I can borrow. Karsten, no.
Oh, wow.
Skylar.
And that was, I'm going to say that was at least a board, if not 2 boards inside target. She's got, looks like maybe a phase 2 with a little surface on it, and it's reading the spot and rolling forward. She has got them figured out.
We'll check bold metrics here in a minute. See if what the scoring pace is like, but for Skylar specifically, I mean, this could be the.
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess she might be in the lead after this game.
Karsten, that's a big finish, able to get to 181, and again, 180s on what we've seen so far are really solid scores. They're not going to hurt you in that sense, especially in the grand scheme of 15 total games.
This one's in.
That was like a slight tumble.
Yeah.
You can tell just by the body language there. She missed target, but
it looks like she got maybe just on the side of it, just a little bit. But you can't miss right, you know. Like that's not a bad miss. Like
no.
It's okay.
She's created her own.
Good break.
You know, OB. That's a good tip too. Where you know if there is an OB, just the pattern says all right. There's an out of bounds. 257 for Skylar. Great game.
That's a ton.
Our dad's a Packers fan.
Ooh.
That's the only thing I don't like about the Pets family.
If that's the only
Shout out to
negative
Mr.
thing,
Pets.
yeah,
Shout out to
they're
Mr.
all right.
Pets.
They're all right then, yeah.
I gave him a hard time. The battle royale I think was week 1 of the NFL football season, and Bears playing Packers, and I saw a lot of Bears fans, parents who were sporting their gear, and I'm like, Bears fans always sport their gear, and I'm like, I know there's a Packers fan in here somewhere, right? As soon as I say it on the air, I turn to my left. There's Mr. Pets right there in his jersey and his hat. Nice game, but from the out of bounds perspective, the pattern says, all right, you only take a couple shots to figure out typically where the OB is, or if you miss right and it's like, oh, okay, I can't get it past here. Sometimes you can even take that a step further for you as the player, depending on what you're trying to do. And you could say, well, you know what, I'm going to make my OB 8 just to ensure that either A, I don't get it right, or B, my ball motion or ball choice says this is just a better move, right, than trying to play with a little bit of a steeper angle.
Yeah, even just, before I got up here in the booth, walking through, saying hi to some people, and, while practice was going on, and you hear some kids, talking to mom and dad, and I bet within the first 2 minutes I heard 3 different bowlers. I got to shut down my angles. My launch angle, I'm like, man, I wasn't talking about launch angles when I was 14, 16 years old, you know what I mean? I was talking about arrows. Here's the arrow I'm trying to hit, and so they're so skilled and knowledgeable. It's fun to watch.
It took me the longest time to kind of understand steeper from the bowling vantage point, and because it was a common thing, obviously, especially when you're on tour and you're covering a tour. The ability of how many times I should say you hear that a day. It's like, okay, well let's break that down into a I like to say, for the viewer, you never know who's listening or watching, and there's always that you anticipate a viewer, you want them to learn something, and so if the smallest thing is kind of understanding, hey, if someone says steeper, they can say it on the broadcast, if watching a PBA show or a PWA show, analysts might use that term, and then you'll know exactly what it is.
Sure.
Trey Hendricksmeyer.
Yeah, he was rolling there till that 3-6-9-10, which I think on any sport pattern should have a circle around it. I think
Good point.
I might rather
point.
shoot a washout than the
That's a good
3-6-9-10 on the sport pattern.
Did not like it. Spare strike to get him to 200. Yeah, you see the game early split in the second, 9 spare, then rattled off 4 in a row, and again the ever popular 3-6-9-10. We'll see a good group of new players, if you will.
Yeah.
Davis Best looks like he's making his way down to 25 and 26.
Yeah. I saw him from afar. He's got some game. Definitely the first time I've seen him bowl.
Good spare. Alexander Huntley. I saw him during the practice session yesterday.
Yeah, he's a local kid.
It's a good point. I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad you brought it up. For the next game, I'm going to talk about or ask you about how many local players that you've seen or know that plan to bowl this week.
Yeah, it looks like we might be this game maybe, but next game for sure. I know you see Rushteen, you see Ainsley McConaughey, Jackson Satterley, who's he won the singles high school championship last year in the state of Iowa.
Nice.
So it looks like they're kind of in the same area down there. They're kind of coming. I think probably next game we'll get them. But, yeah, Alexander, two-handed lefty that gets all of it. He does not get cheated.
Anthony Swanson was one of our defending champions. He finishes with 210. He's, man, talking about getting good fast, and I feel like it wasn't even that fast. He's just been gradually improving, like most players. But just watching him in the last couple of years, what he's been able to do, how great, or I should say, how good he's been able to get or continue to improve. He has the ability to be great. That's the level of talent that he has.
And Ashton goes to the same barber as Schlem, so we got to get a picture of those two together. We got to get them to, maybe we can talk them into shaving the sides a little bit.
That's great. That's great. Those of you who
some good lettuce
are unfamiliar with Schlem, Chris Schlimmer is the brand manager for Roto Grip. Schlem's got the kind of like a blonde.
It's a lifestyle. It's
mullet,
a lifestyle,
if you will. I don't know how to properly describe it, but it is a lifestyle. You're right. Great point. Scott says a nice game. Game 2 specifically for Carrie, or his daughter, excuse me. Let's go to check out bowl metrics here.
Oh, Christian Luna, we got some. Looks like almost a pearlized ball kind of coming off the corner.
Okay.
That's the first time I've seen that. That look, and he shredded the rack. It looked good.
We'll take a look at.
See, we're trying to see what he's. Man,
well, that looks like an older piece of equipment.
Well,
just from the color scheme.
Could be.
He's got this orange
and
yellow.
There is a new Ebonite Fireball that is that color, but I don't know. Otherwise, maybe it's a match. Maybe didn't there a Storm match that was that color? Maybe.
Charlie Wiedmeyer over on 27-28. Stop over there here in just a second. Maya Santalis, she too is an EYT participant. She's bowling this weekend. Zach Grothus.
Yeah, he's got a nice game too.
He and I believe his brother JT, I don't think I saw, is here as well. There's Benjamin Gear. Again, folks, bowlmetrics.com. Let me throw that link for you as well. You can see standings.
Here on 26, you got Davis Best. The first thing that I saw was his follow through, and you watch his hand. It's laid open, soft. Just that's it. That's what these bowling balls, the strong as they're getting. And he grabbed that one a little bit, maybe a little footing issue, but you can see that he's just trying to lay it off of his hand. Even though he's got a lot of revs, but he's not trying to hit it. He's just trying to roll it into the lane.
Yeah, you're already kind of are using your rev rate. So if you can be as soft as possible with it, theoretically that's the thinking. Certainly, you can see what your ball wants to do a little bit better.
Sure. That Chris Prather release, that's but I mean that's what we're all, everybody's trying to copy that.
Striving for,
especially us, at least as one-handers, we're for sure trying to copy that, just because it's just so soft through the bottom, and you just, Pete Weber, honestly, Pete always had a little more tilt, but he had that just kind of, he could always just hand. It was always just laid open flat. The fingers weren't usually coming through, and
we were talking about follow-throughs, balance earlier, and watching players improve, right? And if you watch the PBA league, and not that Chris Prather is never off balance, because he's not, but I felt like there was an extra effort for him to post every single shot. Like he posted it down to the ball hitting the pins on every shot, and I'm like, just again, little things like that that stand out, because when you're the best, there's not a lot of things that you probably haven't seen before as you watch those players. But every now and then you'll see something that goes, that's just the best trying to be better, which is great.
Probably the best practice tip that I was ever given was to just post it, be in balance until the ball goes through the pins, and you kind of you know, you can see how important that is. Yeah, that's stuffed that in there pretty good.
Good shot there from Davis. Folks, if you got any questions, again, drop us here. I'm in the booth with Andy Belo. Andy, for those of you who may just be joining us, Andy, just give us a rundown on kind of how you, from a bowling perspective, you know, when you got going, you know, from the area, lots of bowl, and then from a professional perspective, what you do and how you support the tournament here.
Sure. So bowling, I was very fortunate. I was born into a bowling family. I'm actually from Dubuque, Iowa, which is 90 miles straight east of here. You know, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, uncle, they all bowled. So, you know, as a kid, I was either at, you know, bowling alley all winter and fall, and then baseball diamonds in the summer. So, but yeah, no, you know, bowling and baseball were always kind of my passions. And then as I got towards the end of high school, bowling kind of emerged. I kind of knew my baseball career was coming to an end, and the bowling was going pretty well, you know, and I had some success, and so I ended up coming to school up here at the University of Northern Iowa, and then kind of just stuck around here afterwards. But so yeah, bowling, you know, I've been, you know, I actually worked here at Cadillac in college, and then I was a manager over at Maple Lanes when Rich, and then bought it for a while. So, you know, I've been really involved with the bowling community, and now obviously I own and operate the Other Place restaurant here in Waterloo. You know, so I kind of, you know, I always told myself if I ever got in a bad position, you know, where I could kind of influence and make my own decisions on being able to support bowling, you know, it's what I wanted to do. And you know, the bowlers are great. They turn out, you know, every night that I'm in the restaurant, I can look around. There's going to be some bowlers in there at some point, somewhere eating or watching the game or whatever it is that they're doing. And so, you know, I sponsor a handful of the teams here in league, you know, locally, you know, a couple of the teams that I bowl on, and then a couple other teams too. And, you know, this tournament, you know, I have a passion for junior bowling. You know, it's something that, you know, I think it's important. Obviously, it's great for our game, but, you know, I just remember when I was a kid, you know, when a couple of the really good local bowlers would see me out practicing after. So I would keep score for my dad while he was bowling league.
Nice.
He didn't have automatic scoring.
Right.
So then it was, okay, if I did that, then you get an hour you can practice, you know, before we go home. And anytime any one of them would just stop down and just give me 5 minutes, you know, like I would always get excited, you know, and, you know, or even the guys that you wish would, you know, and maybe didn't, you know. So I said, oh, you know, if I ever get that chance, I always don't want to be that guy. Right. So, you know, so I try to sponsor as much as I can. The one thing that I'm really, you know, happy and proud of that Rich Amy, the owner and proprietor here, we started 10 years ago an instructional league.
Oh, wow.
That we run all summer long. I've ran it myself the last 3 years now, but Rich obviously is involved. But we get local coaches, high school coaches, youth coaches that volunteer their time and they come out. I think we had about 60 bowlers this summer. Every Tuesday, it was 8 Tuesday nights. And I do like a 15-minute classroom session to start the night with them. And we really kind of start from the beginning. Week 1, you know, with the approach and pushaways, and then week 2 we're talking about more of the release and the targeting, and we just try to build it up, you know. And we got bowlers of all levels, you know. We've got beginners, we've got really, you know, we've got you know, youth bowlers that are, you know, maybe 10 years old that average 110 that are just trying to get better, and mom and dad are trying to get them better. We've got really competitive high school kids. We have adults that are beginners. We have adults that are maybe a little more advanced that are trying to take, you know, it's just a really fun thing that we do. And so, you know, we have one coach for each pair of lanes. Nice. They volunteer their time. They come out, you know, with me and with Rich. And it's a really neat thing to be able to give back, you know, and 10 years into it now.
Wow.
And, you know, I still have some of the people that, you know, that I've coached, you know, that they'll, hey, talk to me about this again, or, you know, they run up to you and they want to show you their score. You know, they want to brag to you about their great score, you know, and that's what it's about, you know. And if you have some success, you want to come back. You know, there's nothing worse than being frustrated in this sport.
Oh, you got that right.
And you got nobody that's going to help you, you know, and you know, or you maybe feel a little embarrassed because you're not bowling as well as you think you do, and you get somebody to hopefully help you out a little bit. And I just tell everybody, if I can give you one thing, if I can just tell you one thing in the instructional league that you can apply to your game that you may think makes you a better bowler, then it was worth it, you know. And we do a nice job. You know, I get I'm a Brunswick staffer, so I get John Bercier sponsors the league, so it's like a have a ball league. So we get some discounted pricing on some balls. So you can, at the end of the 8 weeks, you know, you pay a little extra each week, and you get a bowling ball at the end, you know, and things like that. So, you know, they support it. So hey, you get a new bowling ball. We end at the end of July. Leagues around here start at the end of August, so you got a new ball for the year. You got some coaching. Hopefully, you got maybe a little better outlook going into the season, you know, and hopefully have some success, you know. And you know,
how do you guys balance? Like, so during is it like a 3-game type league, or is it
it's
just
an hour and a half? I mean,
okay, gotcha.
If it was up to me, we wouldn't keep score at all.
Right, I was going to say, I wasn't sure if you were kind of doing the instructional part, and then they kind of bowl to kind of have it all. I like your approach, though.
Yeah.
Just let them have the actual instruction, because we all know it's difficult to try to then apply what you're doing in league or in a competition setting, because the old habits kind of tend to want to come back immediately. So
correct. You know, and we really try to teach patience those first couple weeks. Hey, we're changing things, you know, if something needs to be changed, you know, it's going to take time. And then especially in the summer, if you're not out practicing in between, you show up just every Tuesday and then you haven't touch a ball till the next Tuesday, it's going to be kind of hard for some of them changes to take place. So, but, you know, that's, I guess, as far as bowling right now, that's, you know, that's where I'm at. I get to bowl league one night a week now, you know, between the restaurant and
get 801 shot at you.
Get 801 shot at you. So, and then the next week, I had another bowler shoot 802. So I was averaging 235 for the first 2 weeks, and I had 0 points.
Did you happen to shoot 800 on the notes? Did you happen to do that?
I did not.
No. Okay.
I did not. Yeah, but I was getting.
Still would have took the L.
I was getting worked. Yeah, I was. So I just told people I was joking. I was gonna start charging people to come bowl me the next week, then, so that they could shoot an honor score.
Appreciate you sharing that.
No, I appreciate you letting me talk about that.
That's a great league, though. That really is.
I'll tell you what, man. It's so much fun.
It's a great
concept.
concept.
I get excited, especially for we do like that 15-minute classroom session at the beginning, you know, and at the end, then we get into some of the nerdier stuff, the weight blocks, and maybe talk about some drilling angles and you know and things like that, just to try and give people a little light of what it is that we're trying to do, but.
Was Alex Huntley in this league?
He's done it. He has done it a few times.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's working. He's got the front 5, and he's got a really good look. Oh, hook.
Oh, yeah, the
Oh,
no.
Wow.
You know, he got a really good break on 28 on his last shot. Kind of was a little heavy, carried it, and then he absolutely piers it and stones the 9.
Well, that's our game right there.
Bowling's undefeated, man. Bowling is undefeated.
It's our sport.
Crazy.
I watched Alex. So I was the high end last night. The practice session was. I think the majority of these pairs down here was long, and then I think like 23 and 24 may have ended the medium patterns.
Oh,
and he was somewhere in this area, and he went to grab a bowling ball. His bags were just to our left, right behind the counters, or at the bottom, I should say. Hook a little bit.
Oh, no.
And so kind of hops over, grabs the bowling ball, goes up on the approach, and I'm watching. And I was watching because, you know, I got some cables over there, right? So I just wanted to make sure he was good. And so I watched his shot, and I go, wow. Just watching the way his ball was rolling. Like, I couldn't kind of figure out. Like, it was like a strange axis rotation. But when it saw the friction, it was not afraid. Christian Luna. That piece of equipment that you mentioned, it was hooking. And it still does peel down lane. It doesn't peel enough. And if he misses a little bit, right, 2-8-10, 2-4-10, you get into that zone. It just doesn't quite have enough. So it looks like he may have even made a one ball up.
Yeah, that purple has some surface on it. That's for sure. So hopefully maybe they got together with a coach or somebody, and they hopefully made that proper adjustment. 'Cause
I know it's strange to say ball up too in that scenario.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about urethane, but in some instances, urethane, especially with the amount of surface potentially, could seem like a ball up just based on how much it's going to hook early.
A purple hammer at 500 and a purple hammer at 4,000 are they're not even close to the same bowling ball. So, and honestly, that's any urethane ball. To be honest, he just happens to be throwing a purple hammer, and you know it's reading. It's not missing the spot. I can guarantee you that.
John Janowitz was one of the individuals who helped create the lane patterns for the event.
Okay.
And had a chance to watch a video. I think this video went out to the players too. And he gave basically a brief description on kind of what the patterns are, the lengths, and the details, and you know, to a degree, you know, maybe what to expect, just a little bit, right? Not much, but just a little bit. And he was talking about, you know, you might see balls going 4, 5, 6, but it could depend on if there's hang on the gutter or not. And that to me, listening to that and watching what's happening, I think that's exactly almost what is going down here, because there is hang to the right. There are players who, just like what we just saw right there, players who have decided to move a little further left. And we're not talking about 20, obviously, but 10. Great bounce back shot there from Alex. 10, 11, 12 up the boards. We talked about Skylar Petz almost using the oil to a degree to her favor.
Sure.
And keeping the ball on line through the fronts. Not seeing a ton of steeper angles, although Evan, his angles aren't steep, but I mean, he's been solid this game.
Yes.
We're talking about Davis Best. So he's a bit further right than a lot of players.
Yeah, his angles are really tight to the front. He's almost pointing it at at the 3-pin and just hoping that it just shapes a little bit.
That was another great shot from Christian Luna. Let's see what
he's got a nice game.
What ball that might be? It could be a clone.
Yeah, I think he switched to a clone. Yeah,
based on the color scheme there.
Yep.
But he just needed a little bit more ball. Yeah, he was in the right part of the lane for him. He's got a few more revs than a few other players. It looks like he's kind of one-handed, or I should say one-handed no thumb player.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't tell if he had it just kind of hooked in, or if he was just that flexible, or what what was going on.
Could be too. Like know, kids today, Dari Payos got a double jointed elbow.
Buttriff
got a double jointed wrist.
Everything.
So
I think he's double jointed everywhere.
So you never know, actually.
No.
Folks, I hope you are enjoying here our round 1 coverage of the Midwest Youth Main Event. It's one of the best youth events, and it's only going to get better. But what the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation has been able to put together has been fantastic. And we appreciate them and all of the hard work. And so far, so good. Certainly off to a very, very good start here this morning. Live from Cadillac XBC in Waterloo, Iowa. It's Trey Hendricks, or Hemricksmeyer, excuse me. Anthony Swanson down there as well. Anthony coming down and struggling a little bit here. No strikes through 6 frames on 29 and 30.
Ben here is local on 26. And then we've got some more local bowlers coming up here too on the next couple pairs. Let's see if Alex can keep it going here on 27.
A spare from Sebi Vetter. I just saw a nice split conversion down on 21 and 22 push.
That was significantly in, and it just laid there. That's a good sign for him.
Again, that look from Evan, I mean, that's, if you've got that, that's a great sign.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get to the pocket and make spares.
Yep.
And more than likely you'll catch a double or a triple because you're in that zone.
Yeah. I think Davis here on 26 is starting to see a little more friction, I think, than what he had down there. That ball read pretty early. And it makes sense. We're in game 3. This is probably when the transition's going to start kind of kicking in.
This might be another lower scoring short pattern than anticipate. Like nowadays, you think, again, short patterns, you may be able to get some pins, but I feel like the long pattern has kind of replaced that short pattern in the regard of the long pattern might be the one where I go get my pins. and the medium is, you're never quite sure what you get from a medium pattern. It just depends.
I mean, with the rev rates these bowlers have nowadays, I'm sure their eyes light up when they get to the long patterns. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm that way. I'm a higher rev. I'm probably not quite 500. I probably used to be 500. I don't think I'm 500 anymore on the RPMs, but that would be the one that I would probably be excited for. Especially nowadays when I can be just a little softer with the speed and just try to shape it and let the ball shape itself. That's kind of my wheelhouse anymore. So this would be my toughest pattern. I know that there's no denying that. Nice shot.
Charlie Wiedmeyer, the good shot there. He leaves a 4-pin, and then over on 23 and 24. We'll get back to that group in a sec.
Yeah.
Our group on 27, 28 is now about to enter the 9th frame, and very curious how Christian Luna is going to finish after making a very good ball change. We'll see Ashlyn Tevis just switched from reactive to urethane. Well, this is Alexander Huntley. See if Alexander's got a little info for us that we can talk about.
Yeah, he's locked in.
He does, actually.
I think he went two-handed just a couple years ago. I think the first time I had him in that instructionally, I don't think he was two-handed yet, but he's been for a few years now.
He is from Dunkerton, Iowa.
Which is Waterloo.
Okay.
It's just right next door here.
Bowls at Maple Lane. Loves bowling, obviously. Riding his dirt bike, listening to a little music. Speaking of Dario Payo, that's one of his favorite bowlers, along with Parker Bone III.
That's my guy, PB3.
Talk about having a nice PBA league.
Have a day, Parker.
Parker saying, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna win. Like, by the time I'm done, literally win everything you could win.
He has.
That's available.
He has. He's the best. So that's my 12 years old, the center in Dubuque. Put brand new Brunswick lanes into the center, and you got Parker for 3 days.
Nice.
They came in town, and
that's
I was
cool.
very fortunate that I would, after my dad would bowl league and after junior leagues on Saturday morning, I would clean up concourse for free practice. And they let me come in that Saturday an hour before they opened, and I got to bowl 2 games with Parker all by myself. And
Exclusive.
Everybody's like, how come you always throw Brunswick? Man, that was it. It was a wrap after that.
That would hook me. Like, that doesn't get you hooked.
And he's the best though. He's just such a genuinely nice guy, and takes time to talk to you. And what I really loved about it is he had to get up in the 10th. I'll never forget it. The second game we bowled, he had to get up in the 10th and double to beat me. And he did. And I told him, I said, I would have been so mad if you would have let me win.
Right.
Like, if I beat Parker Bone, I want to beat Parker Bone. Oh, he gave me a big high five. We had a good laugh and chuckle about it. I still have that photo framed. I know my mom and dad have it at their house, and that's a bowling memory that I'll never forget. That's
great.
And most of the pros are so generous with their time. You see it.
One of the better stories I've ever heard. Honestly.
Really, it was awesome. I actually got to see Parker for the first time. Really got to talk to him again a couple years ago at the Bob's Business Show. He came with Brunswick when we were up there, and I told him, and he remembered being in Dubuque, and he kind of remembered. I said, Parker, I'm not expecting you to remember all that, but I said, I just thanked him. I really did. That was as influential a bowling moment as a kid as I'd ever had.
Yeah.
And that's probably even contributes to why I still want to help and do as much as I can. I'm almost as good as Parker, so it's just.
Well, now the dream's ending.
Oh man,
that's great.
Yeah.
We saw Trey Hendricksmeyer just get his second strike of the day, of that game. Excuse me. Speaking of second strikes, Anthony Swanson just doubled for the first time this game too. He is looking for 3 in a row in frame number 9. As Brooklyn gets a double there in the 10th, she's going to be in the 150s.
He's playing a little more shape. I think that probably just missed the transition a little bit, you know, and that's the hardest part too when you're moving pair to pair. So you change pairs and they're transitioning.
Right.
You know, a little self-doubt. Did I maybe not throw it the right way? You know, and it can take some time.
So Mr. Huntley,
He's dialed in.
dialed in. We got some info. He's talking about from where he's from. He said, my dad was a bowler. This is from how he got started. My dad was a bowler, and his dad got him started. After he died, it just felt natural. This is the words from Alex. My stepdad is a bowler and my primary coach, and it's good to hear stories about my dad from him. That's like you just kind of all encompass.
Yeah. So I bowled with his dad, Jesse. Was a really nice guy. Loved bowling. I mean, loved it. You know, he came out, even when when he was sick. I mean, he was really sick, and he came out and bowled as much as he could for as long as he could. And so, yeah, Jesse was a really nice guy. Liked to go around bowl all the little small house tournaments, you know, and stuff like that. So, and then now his stepdad, now Travis, is a coaches Waterloo East here in town.
Oh, nice.
And I think, I'm assuming that's where Alex probably goes to school, or at least bowls for them. I don't dunk. I don't think.
Right.
They have a team out there, but
How about that game, Alex? 247.
have a game, Alex.
Wants to go to Mount Mercy or Wichita State. Two very good options.
Yeah, you're not missing it. That's about as good as it gets right there. There's some really good bowling programs there.
And Evan not too far behind.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the 230s. And you saw it, done two different ways on two different sides of the lane. But most of it has kind of remained the same on how they've gotten there. Ball speed a little bit more from the Alex Huntley perspective. How about this ball change from Christian Luna? Maybe the ball change of the day so far. But a great, as you mentioned, great job by either him, parents, coach, whoever, recognize like he's close. He just needs a little bit more ball.
Starting to see now some of this migration to the left with angles opening up just a smidge. This is probably where maybe if you kind of hung tight for a couple games, now the pattern's coming to you a little bit. You can maybe get going on it. Man, Christian's game is silly good.
That's impressive.
I've definitely never seen him bowl before. I see he's got Indianapolis on his shirt. I'm trying to see if there's a thumb hole jolt in the ball when it comes through, but I don't think so. I think he's definitely one hand, no thumb, and he's almost that Tom Doherty, really soft with it. He doesn't have to hit on it. Yeah, definitely no thumb. I just saw there on that shot.
You just don't see that style at this age.
No.
That's very, I hate to call it unique because it's not a unique style, but I feel for a youth player, you just don't see that. You see more adults going to that style or picking it up kind of later.
He's got big hands. I can tell you that now. I just watched him come back. He's got a paw. So if you got a paw like that and he's got some flexibility in your wrist, you got a chance.
There is one Luna listed on in our bio section, but the first name is Israel. It could be Christian. I'm not sure, but they are from Indianapolis here on the bio.
Yeah.
So it very well could be. Loves EJ Tackett. Coach is Rachel Luna, could be mom. Also Mike Devaney. I've seen Mike,
Mike.
make a lot of. He's been doing a lot of coaching. Speaking of Mike Devaney, recently, I feel like he's got a lot of clinics he's been promoting. I just saw recently on social media. So, and I think he does live in that area now. It's going to be a really good pair as Charlie Wiedemeyer will finish things up. But this group of this cross here, you got three players who had 220 or better. Switch on this. Now we got Carson Reed over there starting with spare five-bagger.
And I guarantee you he felt like he missed a couple right on that shot and it struck. So things are starting to, like we talked about at the beginning, at that 35-foot part down there, if the end of that's starting to kind of break down a little bit, now all of a sudden you can throw to it.
Right.
You can use that hold, the oil to the left of you as a little bit of hold with the angle. It just kind of will lay there. I think you saw Alex there for sure. Created some room.
Hello to Linda, by the way. Miss Linda Starkey is noted in the chat. Rooting on Abby Starkey.
Oh, yeah.
Abby,
I remember her from last year.
Yeah, she's, if you're looking at players who, might advance to the finals, you put Abby in that category. We'll go right down the U18 girls division too. Trey Henriksmeyer struggled a little bit these last couple of games, but he's got something brewing here. He can double to get into the 180s.
Yeah.
And again, not a bad position to be in.
I got to give a shout out here on 23. We got Ainsley McConaughey, local. Her dad Matthew's one of the directors for the tournament.
Yeah, you know what? And she bowled one of the PWBA events during the Tour Championship week.
Proud of her for that. That's great.
And it takes a lot to, and she's just a youth player, right? We see youth players now, which is very common now, right? Back in the day, it was like, oh, man, a youth player's going to go bowl a professional tournament? Sure. Holy. But now, it's like expected and common. That's Ashlyn Tevis we were talking about earlier. Yeah. She's high school teammates with Allison Roberts.
I'm sure that's a formidable team to bowl at in high school.
But yeah, shout out to Ainsley.
Yeah, she's a great kid too. Local, she works hard on her game. Her like Rush Steen there bowling next to her. They bowl a ton. They bowl everything.
That's the only way. Theoretically. Outside of practice, Tyler Paulus also on this pair. It's a good group.
It's a good shot.
Ashlyn Tevis, Tyler Paulus.
Love it.
Carson Reed, Ainsley McConaughey. Sophia DeLucia. I've seen her before.
She does good.
Yeah, I didn't know. I talked to her dad yesterday.
Nice.
But I didn't know. Like when I see the name, I'm like, oh, I've seen her bowl now. It makes more sense. Every pair in our viewing area is complete. As we wait for 23 and 24, they were one of the last pairs to kind of move over and start this game 3, and now we get a chance to kind of key in on them here. Carson Reed looking for 6 in a row.
He's dialed in right now. Looks like he's got a purple in his hand too. As we affectionately call it, the Perp Daddy. That's what we call it.
Yeah, I can just read Mike Dole's posts all the time about hashtag Perp Daddy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I actually I believe it was here, the Tour Championship. Shan Pulowski was bowling very well. Obviously someone who knows exactly what to do with urethane, how to throw it.
Yeah.
And I believe what I said was she was throwing a purple hammer, and I said the perp was purpling.
Ah, nice.
Because it was striking a lot.
Yes. Yeah, there's an example there. A bowler like her on a pattern like this, man. When you get to that those tight angles in the front part of the lane, she is very, very difficult to beat.
Good spare there for Carson. JT Grothus on this pair as well. Really good group of 6.
Yeah.
Youth individuals that I have seen a couple of times.
JT had the front 5 and must have lost one. Oh no.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh, especially on this.
Yeah. Happened I saw it on the corner of my eye. I didn't check his score when I did see it.
Yeah. That one wasn't going in the gutter.
Nope. Yep. And it's kind of that natural reaction.
Oh yeah.
Where
Been there, done that.
This one's, as you said, not going in the gutter. Tyler Paulus, you talking about someone who has been improving. I remember seeing him for the first time, I guess maybe 3 years ago at this point. And since then, he's won multiple EYT titles. He shot multiple 300 games.
Okay. Yeah, nice game.
I think the first time I saw him, he won a title in his home center. I think he had to strike or double late in the finals to win.
Nothing better.
His parents are really, really cool as well. They are here. Yeah, just little things. Just looking at the knee bend and how he gets to the line. All of those small things make a huge difference in how one's ball motion does interact. Reed.
There you go. That ball's gotten, that looks like a Venom shock with some surface. That's got to be at least 1,000 grit.
You're left-handed, right?
I'm right-handed.
Right-handed.
I'm right-handed.
Right-handed. So I'm just curious. Have you dabbled, just at practice, dabbled bowling two-handed?
No, I am the least flexible person that you have ever met, and I've never touched my toes a day in my life. Even when I was young and athletic and running around, I was no flexibility. So there's no way I could kind of create that type of rotation.
Folks, make sure you hit the like button if you don't mind, or the thumbs up. Smash the thumbs up while you're here. Please share across your social media channels. Appreciate you tuning in. We've got a couple of games certainly left on our short pattern this morning. And then we'll roll into the long pattern, 5 additional games on that this afternoon. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Andy Velo joining me. We watch Carson Reed trying to take care of the old 310. And does it with ease.
Nice.
That's just textbook right there.
That was, too. You know, and I remember watching him bowl last year, I'm pretty sure, in this. And he looks like one of the guys that we were talking about earlier, like maybe growth spurt last year kind of a thing. Things just look a lot smoother. He looks stronger and just, you know, just kind of it all coming together.
Carson is, help me with his pronunciation. S-O-L-O-N. Iowa.
Oh, Solon.
Solon, okay.
Solon, Iowa.
Solon, Iowa.
Down by the Iowa City.
Gotcha.
Kind of.
Okay. Carson loves math, bowling, fishing, spending time with friends and family. He's out of May City Bowl, of Boulder.
Cedar Rapids, yeah.
A couple times. Of course, some Greater Iowa Youth tournaments back in my day.
That's when I did those too. Yeah, that Eric ran. Yeah.
Yep. I still see Eric now, of course, at the
Oh, yeah.
collegiate level. Ashlyn Tevis.
Oh, send it.
How about that? Message.
Send it. Yeah, you know, that's a really cool thing, that scholarship tournament. I'm sure nationally there was lots of other states that had something going like that, but, you know, the Greater Iowa Scholarship Bowling Tour and then the Minnesota Tour were big. Well, even 25 years ago when I was
Really?
doing them. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know those tours, well, actually kind of both.
Yeah.
I bowled the Iowa one, and I didn't bowl it until I got to college when I first kind of really learned about scholarship tours. So kind of late to the game, if you will, in that regard. But so I did get a chance to bowl against like Matt McNeil a ton.
Yep. So Matt was just starting to win when I was on I had just left, I think, when he won his first one. But I want to say
He won a lot.
my first one was here at Cadillac. There were still wood lanes. So I want to say I was maybe 14, so almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
And naive, no clue, you know, come up here and I shot like 205 the first game thinking I'm the big deal. And they come walking through at the leaderboard and
Yeah, they
300,
still, yeah,
300, 299, 290, 279, 279, 279, and I'm like, oh. I'm thinking, hey, I shot 200, I'm going to be all right, you know, and I'm at about the 50th.
That's a great point. They did run or walk across from the leaderboard when I bowled it too. Come on, Tevis. Oh, one more, maybe.
Oh, back-to-back messengers. Let's go.
Wow. JT trying to finish strong.
That's a great shot. That one, he just looked slower and softer through the bottom, like the 5 count the frame before. He kind of really snapped it off,
right.
And you could tell. Yeah, that looked much more comfortable. But yeah, you know, we had a handful of guys that really dominated that tour when I was young. Named Todd Filter from the Milwaukee area. He should have just come down and destroyed us all. The Rinkenbergs from up there too. Matt and Sarah, his sister, will come down and do really well. Joe Roseman from the Quad Cities.
Oh man,
Joe, I think I have like 6. I never won one.
Okay.
I have like 6 second places in the row. 5 to Joe, and 1 to my best friend, who was the best man at my wedding, and they're all both lefties. So I always told him, well, I won the right-handed tournament that day, you know.
I recall Joe.
Yeah.
He was, I think he was finishing up his youth career as I was just kind of started to bowl those. And,
he was an animal.
or he might have actually had just finished, but I feel like we got a chance to bowl with him once, maybe. And I think one of the things I remember, he was throwing like a reaction ricochet, like Columbia back in the day.
Well,
and he threw it so good that one of my best friend, Andre, who was bowling with us, like he had to have one.
Yeah.
He got one after watching Joe just destroy it.
Green Power Torque.
That was a great ball.
We used to laugh because he would get in such a rhythm. He would pick the ball up off the ball return and he wouldn't even stop. He would literally just put his hand in and go. Like he would never come to a complete stop. And he would just strike all day long. And he's still striking all day long, by the way. That hasn't changed much. He just doesn't bowl as much now. I remember, obviously I was done, but watching Brittany Smith from Des Moines.
Oh yeah, she just won
she won a ton of.
I was there. Where was I at?
Minnesota.
Was it Minnesota?
Yeah, I think
she won the Twin Cities Regional a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, she won a ton of those tournaments.
Yeah, I remember watching her at Grandview.
Yep.
When she won Player of the Year in college her last year, and anticipating, you know, when you have a College Bowl of the Year come out on tour, you always anticipate good success, and she cashed in every event, and she said she quickly kind of realized, you know, you need to do more than cash to you know, make a living, you know, kind of out there. So kind of switched gears a little bit, created a family.
Yeah.
And she's a deputy.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen her more and more here recently. She's out bowling.
Yeah, she's starting to bowl more.
The family, all the fam comes, everybody bowls, and she still throws it great.
Final couple shots, and then I see 25 and 26 now underway. Waiting on 27, 28, 29, and 30. I think at the end of game 2, we started to see a little bit of a pace delay, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing because of the couple of pairs that do have 5.
Yep.
When everyone else has 6, caused a little bit of that gap. Carson Reed, 1 strike away from getting into the 250s.
In this game, in game 3, with it being the transition, we saw some people, you know, really trying to get, maybe I don't want to say lost, but really having to make some adjustments to get kind of lined back up. So
you see Kira Maxim, Austin Nichols, Savannah Portillo in this group on 25 and 26.
Still 240 for Carson. It's a great game.
Spare by Sophia. Scott, if there's a delay, my guess is it's what we just talked about. There are just some groups that are finishing up game 3. And while it does update, obviously, in real time, the scores can look a little jagged when you watch bowl metrics if all of the scores, obviously, from a game are not input at the same time. So my guess is that is the reason for that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, and I really don't know. Do they have, like, online leaderboards?
Yes, so bowl metrics does give you everything.
Okay.
It is updated in real time. Let's refresh, actually, and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we're almost everybody in game 4. It should be pretty close here.
So U15 boys, and thinking this was after 3 for Anthony Swanson. He's plus 23.
Okay.
Charlie Wiedmeyer, we just saw him finish up on 27 and 28. He's minus 22. Gage Van Winkle, third at minus 50. Elias Rahada Sisson at minus 53. That's your top 4. Josh at 5th at minus 74. Jace Pint, Micah Jensen, Dylan Pollard round out the top 8. There are, looks like, what, 29 boys in U15. And then U15 girls, We move on now to game number 4. Skylar Petts, we talked about earlier, right? Plus 44. She was the only player plus.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like through 3 games at least. Morgan Andrews was second, followed by Rylan Lessinger, Savannah Portillo, who we are about to watch here in just a little bit. In U18 boys, Josh Sachs, who had a very, very good Battle Royale Elite U Tour event, made the finals. He's leading U18 boys after 3 games, followed by Lewis Shantz, who we saw have a very good start in game 1. He shot, I believe, 220. Chris Fordyce, he's plus 9. He's Davis Best.
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's great. Davis Best, we were watching a little bit before. He's minus 9. Christian Luna had that big game as we saw in 27 and 28. That got him to minus 11. Trey Hendricksmeyer is at minus 18 in 6th place currently, with Chase Klatt, Evan Wiederbrand, Prey Lawson, and Griffin Jordan not too far behind. This is obviously a very stout division. Landon Jordan right now minus 52 on this short pattern. There's a few names you go, oh, okay, wow.
Yeah. We got Landon here in front of us with Rush this game. So.
Well, there we go. Okay.
Uh-oh. Never mind.
In the U18 girls, Gianna Brandolino looks like through 3. She is the only player plus through 3 games in the U18 girls division. Gia plus 71. And Abby Starkey second at minus 30. Paige Rawlings third at minus 32. Gracie French fourth at minus 35. Sarah Legu at minus 50. That's 5th.
671. That's getting them.
Gia has had a great 2023. Junior Team USA. She went to Peru. Helped the team get a gold medal, team gold medal. She medaled again, I think, in doubles. She won, she won Battle Royale.
So she's winning everything.
She won some Storm U championships.
Yeah, she's got it.
She finished second at the PWBA Rockford Regional.
Oh, wow.
Almost won that.
Oh, I remember that now. Okay, yeah. Confirmed, Coach Steen taught Rush that crossover Brooklyn shot. Looks like updated, Rush is in the lead in his division now.
Okay.
At 40, he just shot 230 something that last game, so making a little run. Got to be one of our youngest competitors, I think, that I've seen for the day there, Bella.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's great to see. That's awesome.
There is no U12 division at this tournament, but we probably have a couple of U12 bowlers. I'm betting.
All right.
I'm just betting on that.
Yeah, sure. That's a nice shot.
Shot there from Dalton Armstrong. Yeah, Scott. Looks like everyone is into game 4 now, so I'm thinking most of the scores that perhaps didn't look to be updated will be or are.
Should be now, yeah.
That was a good shot just right off camera there from Michelle Wilson, but she left at 5.7. Just needed a little bit more on it late.
And we got Landon Jordan on this pair too, so we should have some. Should see some good scores. I have a feeling this game. I think they're working through that transition now. They should be ready to roll. Ooh. My guy Rusher on 28 was absolutely shocked that ball missed the head pin left after he let go of it. So I think he's from where he was to where he is now. I think he's seeing some dramatically more friction in the front part of the lane. And then that one isn't going to make it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's the easy overcorrection there.
Kiera Maxim is someone. I remember seeing her. The PWBA returned in 2015, and we went to Lincoln, Nebraska, for about 3 straight years, and maybe 4 out of the first 5. And Kiera was at every single one of those events. I can't remember if she is from Lincoln specifically, but she is from Nebraska. She would come up and bowl the Pro-Am, and her parents would bring her, watch the event, and she is
Great game.
close to collegiate time.
Yeah. Well, somebody's going to get lucky when they land her. Almost little Clara Guerrero at the line. I don't know why. Just watching that couple of shots
that
there.
follow through part 2, yeah.
Yeah, just the way her follow through is so intentional through the line there. It's just, and that is not the worst person to have to throw it.
Oh no. Savannah Portillo. Good shot there. We'll take you next door for a minute. Take a look at 27, 28, 29, and 30. Specifically 27, 28.
Yeah. So I always joked with Brandon that specifically when Rush was younger, he looked like the kid from Big Daddy. And he still kind of does, but when he was younger, like it was like identical.
That's great.
Yeah. There you go, Rush.
Good shot.
About a 15 and 8 move there and ball down kind of a move, looked like. He went from playing about 6 at the Arrows to about 15, 16. So
that's big.
that's a zone change.
That's a big zone.
We call that a zone change.
See Bella Santeli's also bowling. Bella and Maya, the sisters, bowling this week.
I could watch Landon bowl all day long.
Look at Landon too.
That's just so smooth.
Oh. Wow. How do you not carry that?
That messenger had intent.
That was one thing I did notice a couple months back when we were here with PWBA. I thought the pins were flying a little bit.
Oh yeah, I will give Rich and crew. They do a really nice job of, they pay a lot of attention to flat gutters and kickbacks. Before Maple, the original Maple, before it had burnt down, when I was still working at the center, they had brought in a company. They came in and did the topography of the lanes and did the kegel mapping, and they redid them, and we found some things that made some sense as to why this pair was good and this pair wasn't.
Gotcha.
But the biggest thing was that he really, Bill Manju, who actually unfortunately passed away this last year too, was the flat gutters. And when they started taking them up, there was just like cinder blocks, which put over time, they dry out and they break, right? And they aren't, so now they're not sturdy. So you got almost like this hollow hit on the flat gutters. So we went through and reinforced them all that summer. Wow. And that next year, when I say it was a score war, you can't believe the honor scores that we had that next year. It was unbelievable. I think and I say this just to prove a point. I think that year, I had 6 300 games at Maple, and I think I was about 5th in the house.
Not close.
No. I can't remember. I think there was a lefty that had like 9 or 10 that year. It was insane.
That's man, it
just goes to show. You know what I mean? The lanes were
says a lot about.
I learned so much about topography and oiling lanes and patterns.
Sure.
That I went to a school that summer, and it's changed my bowling game forever. That was unbelievable. Just started learning of building the patterns and why we put loads where we do, and when we need to make tweaks, what do we do? And taking in lane surface and, you know, and oil that you're using and what, you know, it was just like, it was like a light bulb moment, you know?
You know, my time, you know, being in the industry and streaming and watching a lot of great bowling, but getting a chance to kind of talk to proprietors and some of the things they want to see. We were just talking about league and scoring pace, tournament directors scoring pace, and then understanding it from a lane mechanic perspective, like Kegel, for example. That part of the industry, I think, is, I won't call it a secret because the information is available, but if you can understand those things, it can help you immensely, not well beyond the physical game, the ball motion, because you'll kind of understand the reason, you know, maybe why the bowling ball is reacting the way it does. And if you can kind of get a sense of that stuff, man, it can take the game a long way. Now, sometimes, you know, too much info can be a bit overwhelming, but
Sure.
if you can learn some things that, you know, just kind of make it simple for you, man.
Yeah, you know, like this center here, these synthetic lanes are old. I think we talked about this last time. These were the test panels for Pro Anvil.
Oh, right.
That were in Muskegon. And they actually had a little bit too much friction. So Brunswick took them out. Adrian Erickson, that owned the center at the time, bought them from Brunswick. It was a 50-lane center. This used to be a 50-lane center. So where's Brunswick going to sell 50 brand new or synthetic lanes that are a year old, right? And they came and brought them here and installed them. And the reason, it was that same summer that I learned about these, because we were talking about over here, and Bill, and then, you know, just explaining it to him, and I told him that they came out of Muskegon and all that, and he's like, here's a random question. Where do they bolt down on the lane? And I'm like, well, the one board. He's like, no. He's like, Pro Anvil lanes bolt down on the two board. I said, no. These bolt down on the one board. He's like, take me there. So we literally stopped what we were doing at Maple, drove over here to come look at the lanes, and he's like, I installed these lanes in that center in Muskegon because these were the original test panels for Pro Anvil. So they look like Pro Anvil and everything like that, but the friction on them's higher than what Pro Anvil lanes that they use now. So there you go. When you move down to a pair and you get a little more friction in the front, they're probably closer to like what HPL was, you know, an SPL. They're probably kind of in between.
All of the interesting oddities.
It's crazy
about bowling. This is game 4, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got a question about a particular player, where they are in the standings, you can check those out at bowlmetrics.com. I do have the standings link pinned to the top of the chat. We appreciate you tuning in. This is day 1, round 1, if you will, but it's round 2 for the tournament. And what I mean by that is this tournament is titled this year Midwest Youth Main Event Round 2. It's their 2nd annual event. Last year, of course, was the first year they hosted this. And here we are with 5 games. We're in game 4 on short. After these 5 games is Kira Maxim. Man, I can't believe how much she has continued to improve. But 5 games on short. We'll break. We'll have 5 games on the long pattern this afternoon. We'll go home. Actually, I think we're going to Maple Lanes this evening. There's a cool social, from what I understand, happening there tonight. And then we'll be back at it tomorrow with 5 games on the medium pattern, and then we'll have some Stepladder finals for you. So if you have any questions about the tournament, the format, questions for Andy Belo and picking his brain about bowling knowledge, or about that won't take long. Or about the restaurant business, since he's very good at that too. Please drop those in. Love to have you. My man Chris Pulliam, good morning. Good morning to you, CP. Appreciate you giving us a view here this morning.
I think Rush and Landon are about to have a day this game. Their looks have just gotten really good really fast.
Hook a little. Oh, yeah. And that hooked for Bella. Yeah, Savannah gets a little carry. Her, I don't know if her sister is bowling. Her sister is Olivia. And Olivia is a two-handed lefty. because, you know, just a couple years ago she was in the U12 division and just couldn't keep a bowling ball in the lane. And as she got older and started to get a little stronger, added some urethane in her bag, kind of able to keep it on line a little bit better. And she's won several more times since then. Savannah trying to take home this title here. Since we have or should have all of our standings updated, let's do a refresh here on bowl metrics. I'll run through those standings again. We'll start in the U15 boys division. So with the updates, Rush Steen is the leader at plus 43 in U15 boys. Of course, Rush bowling on 27 and 28. We'll see Kira here. Can she strike in the ninth? You can tell that she didn't like that. Maybe missed it a little bit. She's hoping for a good break, and 9 is always a good break. Anthony Swanson plus 23. He's second. Sebastian Vetter, or Sebi Vetter, as we all know him, at minus 8. He's third. Charlie Wiedmeyer is fourth at minus 22, and then there's a tie for fifth. And I do believe that Israel Luna is the name, of course, in the standings, but I think that is Christian.
Okay.
And I'll still do a double check on that. He's minus 44 after that nice game he had. He's tied with JT Grothus. Then in the U15 girls division, Skylar Petts at plus 44, followed by Morgan Andrews at minus 64, Sophia DeLucia at minus 69, Rylan Lessinger at minus 82. That's the top 4. And Savannah Portillo, unfortunate break here with a 4-9. But she's got a chance to still get into the 2-0s at least, the 2 teams.
Boom. Wow. Thought Savannah was going to pick that up.
Josh Sachs is leading U18 boys by 2 pins over Carson Reed. Sachs at plus 45. Carson Reed at plus 43. Rhett Ryman, third at plus 19. Lewis Shantz, fourth at plus 17. Chris Fordyce, fifth at plus 9. So 5 players in the U18 boys are plus, with Davis Best at minus 9 in 6th place. Take that back. There's Christian Luna. Christian is in the U18 boys division.
Okay.
So let me get a guess. It's Israel. His perhaps a younger brother. Sure. Bowling as well. So Christian is minus 11. And Trey Henriksmeyer, 8th at minus 18. And in U18 girls, Gianna Brandolino, big lead. She's the only player plus in the U18 girls, again at plus 71 for 3. Wow. Abby Starkey minus 30. Paige Rawlings minus 32. Gracie French minus 35. That's your top 4 in U18 girls, with Sarah Legou in 5th place at minus 50.
Just saw our first female two-hander of the day there. Carly on 24. Lefty, two-handed. Oh, wow.
What did he make?
2-8-10.
How about that?
Wow. Bella here on.
Whenever I read scores, I always miss something.
Yeah.
Never fails. I can see it in the right corner of the replay there. I don't even see it on the peak. Did he go back up on it?
I didn't. I just looked up and saw the pins flying. Dart and Armstrong going to be in the 2 teens here. That's a nice little 3-bagger here to end the game. Yeah, you're definitely starting to see a lot more shape being played here on the lanes by the bowlers. The end of the pattern is definitely starting to break down a little bit. Strikes are starting to flow.
Let's see if we can see this It's going to be in the right corner of your screen, folks, to the right, but let's see. See if it works.
Yep. Yeah, back up.
Nice. There it is, right there.
There's that pin action that you were talking about, those live kickbacks.
Wow.
If I tried to do the backup ball like that on a 2-8-10, that would be the end of my day. It would be no longer bowling. My wrist would be done.
And then right back at it is landed with that strike in the 7th. T.O. looking for some help. I'm about to now watch 23 and 24 when we get back to it. You mentioned the two-handed young lady. What was her name again?
Carly.
Carly. Okay.
Left-handed, two-hander.
Gotcha.
Looks like she's throwing like a widow spare, like a plastic ball, and she is hooking the lane.
You know, I kind of want to do this two-handed. So Gene Koenig, for example, who works at USBC, one of our writers, one of the writers there, and a long time ago, he did a thing called, like, I think Project Two Hands, where essentially he kind of detailed his journey, kind of through USBC coaching. For example, kind of converting to a degree two-handed, and like how it went. And that always stuck with me for some reason. Just like, you know, we did a video series on people, like, and kind of the hows and the whys, and, you know, if people are converting to the style or if youth players start with it, and how they grow into the style. I know you'd see a lot of different things. It would be the same, but it'd be completely different, because I feel it's so different for every player that we see with the style.
There was a shot there on 27, Sebastian. That ball got outright early. He hit exactly what he was looking at, and it read. It wasn't. So I think this pair for sure, 27, 28, it been broken down properly, has more friction than other pairs, but you can see him throwing it out to the spot where when we first sat down today, no chance. That ball wouldn't have made it 40 feet, it would have been in the gutter. So Jackson Satterley here on 27 is local. He's the one I was talking about, won the singles for high school bowling last year. Two-hander.
I feel he bowled this event last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Always at the center. Every Thursday night, his dad bowls in our scratch league, and when he's hopping on the lanes. Usually, I shouldn't say this Thursday he did, but almost always he's waiting for us to get out of the way so he can hop on there and get some practice in.
I remember those days.
And I think specifically he allowed us to bowl on the pair that his dad just got done on. So if Dad wasn't quite bowling the way he thought he should have, he can hop on there. See, Dad, this pair is easy. You know, I remember those days.
Oh, Bella.
Ooh.
My practice used to come in the 4 league. I'd go in and get that. I had what I call my ball, which was a house ball.
Okay.
But I get the same one every week. Same one every week. I remember it like it was yesterday, and then I remember that one week where it wasn't there.
Ooh.
And you thought somebody was about to have a conniption.
Devastation.
Yeah. Like, what's happening here? I think not too long after that, I got my own ball.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some strikes here on 27, 28.
Well, you see Ashlyn, she's got a 6-bagger.
Yeah. 29, yeah.
JT coming off a couple of
Nice
splits, but it's a good break. He tried to save 170. Oh, that's peeling.
Oh. Just went forward on him right at the end.
What do you think the subtle, you know, maybe even minuscule difference? Good shot there from Sebi. Is when you see a ball like Rush's, it kind of gets forward late, just doesn't have enough continuation. how much is you think really is that difference?
With him specifically, you just watch what his hand's trying to do. He is really up the back, which is really smart on a flat pattern like this. You know, obviously, typically it probably just read a foot too early. You know, just didn't quite store enough energy to face up the way you want it to, and rolls a little early and just a little dead. But I mean, that's probably just a one-board move for him. Maybe a 2-1 or 3-1 kind of a thing, but you can just really see he's really trying to make that ball roll forward off the end of the pattern. That was a really good shot that he just threw. It just didn't quite face up where he needed to. With Landon, he's playing a little more shape, but he's also probably throwing a lot less ball. The ball looks a little more rounded than what maybe Rush's is.
Jackson seeing this early hook.
Yeah, he's still in a purple hammer with some surface on it, and it's reading.
Right.
From what we've seen on that pair, that makes total sense. And since we taught the Parker Bone story, I see Bella throwing the new vintage Teal Reno Pro. That's always the ball I think of.
Was that the ball they was throwing?
That was the ball.
Get out of here.
That was. But that's just in my head every time I remember Parker on TV. I always remember probably either that or the Danger Zone, but that Teal Rhino, man, he struck for days with that thing on TV.
Nice can opener of that 369 in there for Jackson. I don't know if I've seen the pins kind of do that when you make that spare.
Yeah.
I'm going to call out Chris Pulliam for a moment and see if he's been bowling lately. And Chris, you missed Andy told a really good story about Parker Bone III. I feel like you would enjoy it. But first I'm going to let you know, or let me know if you're still here. That's one that's kind of worth retelling if anyone missed that. We'll wait and see who's listening. Or who did hear it.
Yeah.
Griffin Jordan is joining us on 25 and 26 with Chris Fordyce, who was +9 through 3 games.
Just saw that shot from Rush. Definitely wasn't as up the back of it.
Okay.
Looked like he had maybe just a little more tilt to it, and the ball responded really well off the end of the pattern. So maybe this one over here was just a little of a miss, trying to be nice to it. That one over there on 28 looked amazing. So Chris here on 26 local, he works over at Maple Lanes. Same thing, him and Jackson Satterley, always getting on the lane. So this is Jackson's dad, Cam, talking to Chris now. They bowl a lot. Rush going to be in the 220s here, hopefully.
Ashlyn Tevis in the 240s.
Yeah.
That spare gets her to 247.
Yeah, she's throwing the ball great.
Yeah, she told me yesterday, and again, I see her all the time on the UIT, the Elite Youth Tour. And she said, hey, how's it going? I asked how she was doing, and she said, we're just hoping to have a better tournament this year. She didn't bowl well last year, and I was like, really? Like it surprises me when she says she doesn't bowl well. And I'm like, well, we got 15 games. You got a little bit of additional knowledge of the building now, so that may be instrumental. Nice game from Rush.
Be anxious to see here Landon on 28. Well, he's had a couple weird hits on a couple strikes, and then he had that 2-8-10. So hopefully he's got that lane figured out here and can put together a nice 10th frame. He really liked that shot too.
Landon will be in the 220s with the spare. His brother Griffin now bowling on 25 and 26. We'll get you that pair momentarily. Sebi Vetter, good spare. I saw Sebi's dad. I don't know if mom is watching. If she is, hello, Lori. Dad does a cool thing for Sebi and kind of live streams, you know, kind of his bowling as they travel throughout the varying tournaments. There's a couple of parents that do that.
That's great.
It's just such a different digital world that we live in, where I can do this and then they can do that to kind of a very specific audience, obviously. And
that one always strikes Linda. Always.
It's like clockwork.
The fill ball's always money.
Just like clockwork.
I'm really impressed with that, like how soft he is on his follow through.
Landed?
Yeah, like it's just so quiet. You know, it just makes sense. I mean, nice shot there by Bella on 28. Wow.
I like trying to get to 184. She's had some really good moments in this game, too.
She has.
Joseph Woods Weissman in the 10th frame over on 23 and 24, looking for 5 in a row.
Ooh.
It's kind of missed it, just kind of rolled out on him. Carson Reed's going to be in the 2-0s. He's going to continue to evolve in the plus column. Might even take the lead potentially. So if I'm not tripping, on 25 and 26, they should be in game 5.
Yes, they are.
Oh, there it is, G5. Don't forget about Lane Talk too, folks. If you're looking at wanting to obviously follow your favorite bowlers today, and as they pass through or come across the live stream pairs, you can watch all of their games, what pins they leave, if they pick things up, etc. and so forth via Lane Talk. So make sure you download that app if you haven't already, or if you are on a laptop or a computer, you can visit lanetalk.com. Make sure you click on live scoring and enter Cadillac XBC, and all of that info will come up right for you.
Kylie here on 25. She's I think from Vinton, which is about 20 minutes south of here at Waterloo. She throws the ball nice. She's been working hard on her game over the last year or so. Her dad, always see him asking questions on Facebook, right, to people. You know, I saw they were up at the bowling center Thursday night, having a conversation with Jake Bedard, who's a Storm staffer here in town. You can see him working on some things. So it's just, you know, it's nice to see people that are really working at it. You know, parents are invested, the kids are invested. That's always good.
A little bit of a different look for you on your screen. On top is 23 to 26. The bottom there is 27 through 30. As 27-28 finishes up, they are going to be, we'll have no bowling, I should say, on those pairs, probably for a few minutes as the groups move to their next respective pairs. 23 and 24 is finishing up game 4 as well. You know, Andy, I feel like you probably see this too, especially from someone who coaches and you know, coaches in the instruction league. The fundamentals are obviously so important, right? And from that regard, I see a lot of great fundamentals. You can tell some players from a skill level, right? They're right there where, you know, one small change boosts them up, or just the experience part, but the fundamentals are present. And, you know, if you got a good foundation, at least in my opinion, you've got a great chance at being very good to great.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You know, you mentioned that instructional league. You know, a lot of people have their kind of unique styles, you know, and or just, you know, you don't want to necessarily change things just to change things just because it's not textbook.
Right.
But proper hand positioning, timing, balance, follow through, that's universal. Now you can kind of do it your way a little bit, you know, and what's comfortable to you, but you know, if you don't have that solid foundation of, you know, being in balance at the line and foot and the hand coming together when they need to, you know, and things like that on a consistent basis,
Right.
you know. There's people that have late timing, there's people that have early timing, you know, and then there's the textbook, you know, and all that. But, you know, and that's that's one thing that we really try to preach. And honestly, this probably goes back to my dad. That was what he was always all over me, timing, and balance. That was, you know, my dad's a solid bowler. He's full roller, old school full roller. Wow. You can count the revs almost going down the lane, you know. You know, at a fairly early age, you know, we were all of a sudden about 14, we're averaging the same. You know, and he looked at me and he literally told me, he's like, you're getting to a point now I can't help you with bowling balls and, you know, all that kind of stuff. He's like, all I can watch is your timing, your hand position, and your balance, you know, and that's what he would focus on, you know, and that doesn't change, you know. You know, and that's what, and even some of the parents, you know, that come out for the instruction, like, hey, I'm not a bowler, but, you know, I want to help my kid. Well, here's the 3 things that you can watch. So when they do this, when they fall off to the right at the line when they let go of the ball, here's what's going on, you know, or watch their hand when it comes down from the top of the swing. Is it still behind the ball, or is it getting to the side too fast, you know? Those are things that you can watch as a parent, even if you're not a bowler, you know, or maybe you're not a good bowler, right? And you got a kid that's a great bowler, you know. You can, and, you know, those are the small things that, you know, you try to teach and hopefully point out. But yes, you're dead right. The fundamentals and all, you know, at this, looking at the ages and how fundamentally sound they were light years ahead of what I was at that age.
No doubt. Kylie, it was Kylie Kirshner, I believe, who had, I think she had the front 3.
We got another local bowler on 28, Lucas Clark. Two-hander, works. See him, his grandpa bringing him out a lot, practicing during the day. You know, we're walking in the door for league, they're finishing up kind of a thing.
I think I learned about him last night.
Yeah, he was at dinner, yeah. I think his grandpa sat at your table, I believe, yeah.
So just about every pair is now into game number 5.
Hopefully Kylie can keep it going here on 25. Hey, good miss. Crossed over for a strike, kept it out of the out of bounds. Watching Griffin here on 25, he is really straight and really right. Looks like probably a blue tank, I think, and it is looking like $1 million. But he's just so far right from where everybody else is. I know Chris here on 26 is still trying to play the kind of the same area. He started with a purple hammer and went to a pink widow on that urethane there on that shot. And I think he's starting to see a little more transition himself.
Oh, Easton with some carry there to the right.
Well, we watched left-hander Alex whack him on that pair. Hopefully, maybe he has the same look.
Gabe Dunlap with a nice shot there. It looked like that similar ball we were talking about with Christian Luna he was throwing earlier. But that worked perfectly for Gabriel there. Slower ball speed. You see Zane Shaughnessy His dad, I believe it's Spoon River College, if I'm not mistaken. His dad is the coach of. He's here on behalf, obviously, of Zane, but also representing his school along with Wartburg, with Alexis and Brandon Ruck.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye Community College, represented by Roger Taylor. So 3 schools who offer collegiate bowling here being represented. Obviously, it's a great place for, as a coach, to be able to check out potential or prospective student athletes. Oh, nice. There to the right. That was Micah Jensen.
Yeah.
And much like Landon split.
A little 2-4-6-10 actually.
We weren't on that camera per se, but did catch it out of the right side of your screen there.
I think now we've got Israel on 24.
There we go.
We've settled that.
We figured it out.
Debate, yes. Wow, Griffin is dialed in. About 6, 7 at the arrows, maybe out to about 3.
I feel like I've watched him enough to where you can tell, like, sometimes he'll just be further right than others.
Yeah.
Good shot there from Micah.
Uses that split conversion, comes back, throws a nice strike.
Well, let's see if we can get a hold of Micah's split conversion there. Able to be on the right of your screen. All right. After this Zane shot can see shot. And that was a good one.
Really nice shot.
All right, let's see. Right of your screen there was the, what,
228?
2-4, 2-4, 6, 7?
6-10, yeah.
Or 10, excuse me.
Yes. Textbook.
All right, so I'm going to wait a few more frames, and I'm going to check bowl metrics. You should do the same if you haven't already. That's where you get all of the standings from this week or this weekend's event. You're watching the Midwest Youth Main Event 2023 edition, or round 2. As we say, you can see that on the logo. How about some more carry? Hook. Emily Kringle.
Yeah, she throws it really nice.
Why does that name sound so familiar to me? Emily Kringle from Pierre, South Dakota.
That's a drive.
Sophomore. Her favorite school subject, which is one that I feel like you don't see a lot of, weights and conditioning.
Oh, wow.
And getting an early start and understanding how important that will play a role in one's bowling career, and obviously just physical wellness and fitness in general. But you know, she could end up becoming someone who maybe gets more into that world from a fitness and wellness perspective, health and wellness. Oh, Griffin.
Half pocket.
Send
Nice.
him. And someone like Heather Sterner, for example, who is
Sure.
in that field. She's also a collegiate coach, bowls on tour, but she is a trainer. She puts together, you know, nutritional plans, workout plans, etc. Bowl Fit is what it's called. That's her company name. She's actually, I think, partnering someone I've gotten to know very well. His name is Paul Schroeder. He's a good friend of Deandra, and he's become a sponsor on the Elite Youth Tour. And so Paul comes out. He's into, obviously, recovery, rehabilitation. But he comes out and runs the players through various dynamic stretching, getting them to understand and kind of put these things into their memories or brains. So I should be stretching before we bowl, et cetera, and so forth to get through a block. He'll come out. Anybody's got a tweak, they feel like something's wrong, parents, athletes, he'll check them out, do kind of a free consultation right there.
Yeah.
It's actually helped my wife with her foot.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I'm next. I told him I got a neck situation, Paul, so I'll be in there but I mean, there's just so many things now from a sport perspective that we pay much closer attention to, that not only do we benefit from as athletes, but someone can make a career out of it and still be a part of the bowling world.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, matter of time until that whole industry made its way into bowling, and now, like you said, you've seen. I know John Brassear's wife Valerie does some health and nutrition.
Yes, she does too. Yes, she does.
Yes.
She is a dietitian, a nutritionist.
And throws the ball unbelievable.
I was talking about physical games with AJ earlier.
That's textbook.
Top 5 physical games.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It can't get better. It's so good.
It's
one of those.
It's like you can't have less effort and throw the ball that good. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like to roll it that good, it looks like you should have to put a little more effort into what you're doing. Every time John comes to town, my first question is, well, the real question is, are you bringing your wife? I said, I want to talk to her about bowling. So I'll talk about bowling balls with you, but I want to talk with her about bowling.
They're probably now bringing Little John with them.
Yeah, Little Man's awesome. He's great.
Good spare by Griffin. His only 2 misses have been on the right lane.
Yeah.
Good start there by Kylie. She has had a couple of opens. She can get back on track here. Lane 25. Kirchner.
That's a better shot.
It is. Bang.
Yeah, there you go.
High flush.
Oh.
Nice little smile right there.
Yeah, I'd say this little snark smile. That was, yeah. I get that. Talking about really good physical games, we got to see one this summer here was Verity. I mean,
oh yeah,
Verity's just
another one that
same
doesn't.
Thing. Yeah.
When she falls off a shot, something's wrong.
Yeah. Like, first thing I looked at would be the approach.
Something's actually.
Was there something on the approach? Because that's the only reason that probably happened.
Push.
Oh. He's got that ball working. He's got that forward roll. He makes it roll early, and it just keeps bleeding off the end of the pattern. That especially on a short pattern like this, that approach can never get you in trouble.
Absolutely.
You might hit a bad pair where you're not quite matching up, but he's going to live in the 1-3.
It's a tough break there for Emily. She is the, I believe, the defending Midwest Youth Main Event champion in the U15 division. The only question is she still in that division at the moment? Let's see. I'm assuming that she probably had to move up. Which is indeed correct.
All right, my man Chris here is just hanging on for dear life on lane 26. I just said, man, I said you're hanging on for dear life. I like it. Okay, keep grinding, baby. Keep grinding.
It's so funny how pairs will treat you like that, right? You just got to do everything you can. You work so hard on one lane.
Yeah. Well, and I think kind of the same thing that we've saw. They whatever pair, he was, 2 pairs down, so he was probably on 19 and 20.
Right.
Came down here, and his first couple shots hooked significantly earlier than what he had down there. So, he tried a ball change, stuck with urethane, went to a different urethane, went ASIM from symmetrical, trying to get to read early and roll forward, and it does. But it looks right now it's either a little bit too much or then it just never really makes it going. So, but you're at the end of the game. He's had a decent block. He was +9, I think, coming into this game. So, hey, if he spares strikes, he's going to end up even. If I remember right, was he?
He was +9 after
+9,
3. What division was he in?
That's a good question.
So he's -16 after 4.
Okay. So he's going to get back. He might be at about 25 under here if he can spare and strike. But, it's a nice set. That's this isn't easy. And if I know Chris's game a little bit from watching him bowl, I'm going to guess the short pattern probably isn't his most comfortable. He likes to be maybe a little softer with it. He likes to shape the ball a little bit more. He likes to let his hand shape the ball. So, I think 20. I would bet if he asked him at the beginning of the day if he was going to be 25 under on the short, I bet he might have took it.
Right.
I would expect him to bowl really well Sunday morning on that medium pattern. So he'll be 27 under. Definitely hasn't taken himself out of a tournament by any means.
No, I watched someone, Gabe Castro, shout out to Gabe, at the Battle Royale in the Elite U Tour, who struggled, I think it was a short pattern maybe, but one of the patterns he struggled on day one. He went +264, I think, on the medium pattern to just sneak into the cut. And those eliminator finals, we took 8 bowlers in that particular division. And he ends up kind of running the eliminator and won the tournament, or won that division.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of this format. You got 3 different patterns. If you can bowl well on 2 and hang in there on the one that isn't necessarily your favorite, you still got a chance.
Right.
And it's a good learning. Patience, grinding it out, making spares. That's. Oh. Almost had a little trick shot there.
Excellent. Erie. It's a big double there.
Didn't feel good coming off that middle finger. Pulling that knuckle, that's never a good sign.
Griffin, again, has missed 3 times. They've all been on the right lane. That's a good one from Micah Jensen to the right. Kylie. All right, spare strike to get her to 187. Zane Shaughnessy pulls the string there. Able to get all 10 to carry. And he can finish at 226 this game. Bryce Bergman, that's a tall young man.
Yes, it is.
All right, good spare for Kylie. Strike to get her again to 187. It is, we're nearing break time. Again, we'll be back at it at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern for 5 games on the long pattern.
I think you're getting a little bit of Abby Starkey there on 21. She is not enjoying that pair very much. I've seen a couple shots. Seems like, especially on 21, anything a little right is just not coming back.
Let's see, as we finish up here, let's look at 27-30 a little closer. That was a strike there from Iron Christensen. This is Easton.
Yes. Oh, there's a nice break for Emily.
Good break for Emily Kringle there next door. Again, representing South Dakota on the U15 division last year. Anthony Swanson won the U15 boys title last year. Dawson Peterson won the U18 boys title last year. He was unable to compete this weekend. And Brooke Salzman won the U18 girls title last year.
It's a nice shot.
Abby did strike on this in the 7th on 21 and 22, but looking at that scorecard, you are correct there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on. Hopefully on 21 she can get something going.
Jenna Pitts down there on 29 and 30. Kara Maxim, she slowed down a little bit. She's had a rough time in the middle of this game with spare shooting. Joseph Woods, who had a solid game in game number 4. The splits are starting to kind of pick up their frequency.
That pair also looks like it's got some friction going down there.
Jackson. Micah went strike and then the big split conversion. Strike, back-to-back splits. One was a 7-10. And now looking for 4 in a row. And we're talking to he and his parents, specifically his mom, who I wrote a story about this tournament for Bowler's Journal last year, and looking at it from various angles, and players who maybe it was their first time bowling any event like this, or why'd you make the trip kind of thing. They too are from, I believe, South Dakota.
Okay. Well, he's got a nice little four-bagger going now.
Pretty sure he made the finals of U15 boys, now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
He was in the finals last year. I believe Joss was in the finals last year. Of course, Anthony Swanson, he won U15 boys at the time. Oh! Yeah, okay, that's okay to slap that one out every now and then.
All right. And it's on TV, it's even better.
I get it. Like, you're probably not worthy of it, but I get it. Lucas Clark. Open there in the 9th frame.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
that's how you get back from a ring in 10.
That was his dad, too. Now think about that. That was his dad at the table.
Oh, okay.
And he was telling us some stories about Lucas's young athletic career that's just getting started.
Okay.
Plays football, multiple positions. I believe he's in 8th grade. Obviously bowls. I think there's a few other sports. I think he's on the wrestling team.
He's athletic. He's got a build to him. Yeah, especially if he's, what, 8th grade, you said?
He's 8th grade. I think they said he weighs 190 right now.
Yeah,
something like that.
Kid.
And he's only going to get taller and stronger. And we're talking about. I asked his dad what was what future position might he play on the football field. And then he broke down how many positions he already plays.
Okay.
And they said that coaches are kind of project him to a degree, maybe like middle linebacker. And when he said that,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I see that. Even look at his neck. He's got a thick neck already at 8th grade.
Yeah, he was talking about the amount of weight that he can kind of squat already.
Sure.
I mean, he's literally built different. Like, folks, watch out for Lucas Clark, not just on the bowling lanes, but he's a very talented young man.
Don't come across the middle, right?
Very talented young man who is going to succeed in a lot of things.
I mean, 19 mile an hour. I mean, he's got some ball speed. He's got the revs. And he works at it. Like I said, I see him out practicing.
Yes, that's what his dad said too last night.
Yeah, so he's going to be around.
Micah would make it 5 in a row.
Yeah.
One more, he could finish in the 220s with good count.
That is how you dig out 210, 211, 212, something like that. That's a grind. 3 splits.
That's an impressive game.
It's about how I shoot 212 in league usually, about 3 opens and a bunch of strikes.
I was making a joke about bowling.
Yeah.
When I go bowl league, like, you know, when you don't bowl for a while, there's always something that takes a while to kind of get back, or that has gone away, right? For some people, it's the spare game. I'm one of those folks too, and so, you know, in league, I'm hoping for 8 strikes because I know I'm going to miss 2 or 3 spares.
We all have those nights for sure. You just take everything you can get.
There's a good one, Cade. That's how you utilize that break.
That's right.
And he's 2 strikes away from 223 after a very tough start. Gutter 6, 9 out. He's rattled off 6 now of the last 8.
Yeah, it'll be definitely something to watch moving forward on this 27-28. Just seems like their balls are hooking on that pair. That might be advantageous on that longer pattern if you can get just a little more bump right later on in that block. That pair could produce some pretty high scores.
I'm intrigued by this long pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like maybe compared to last year, might say the same as this, might be a little bit more oil at the end of the pattern. I think they said this one's 3-to-1, the longer pattern, which makes it the easiest of the 3, right at 3-to-1, but that
is 46 feet. But I'm going to throw it on the screen real quick, give it a little bit of a preview.
Shot Jackson just threw on 28, hooked a ton. He might have got a little soft with it, but it boogied.
After Jackson is complete, I'll throw the long pattern up on the left side of the screen to watch Carly finish up. Again, that young 2-handed lefty.
Yeah.
We were talking about over on 29-30.
She had a real nice strike the first shot in the 10th.
182.
Crossed over there in the 11th.
Right, there's the afternoon challenge.
Yeah, that, you know, you got what, oil. Yeah, applying oil in the reverse at 39 feet. That's significantly farther down the lane than there was last year. I think last year, I don't think there was any oil after about 30, 32 feet. So, and the drop brush hitting the lane again at 40. So, yeah, there's. But I think if you wanted to play like more of a true longer pattern, I think that's a good thing. Where, you know, you're almost gonna be looking like probably early on some people throwing almost fadeaway shots. You know, the ball just kind of backing into the pocket and shaping about 2 feet in front of the head pin, kind of a thing. So. It'll be interesting to watch. I would be really interested to see how much surface. There's some people trying to throw some surface and maybe kind of play the what looks like shim anyways.
Right.
There, you know, but looks like around about 11. You know, be a little hold in and be pretty flat outside though. You got 8 2-2s in the forward, so that's a lot of oil on the outside part of the lane.
Very interesting, unique challenge.
Yeah.
But, that's the afternoon course, if you will. That's brunch.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'd be anxious to see if it develops a little bit, you know, in games 4 and 5 like we saw here, or if it's gonna get a little tighter. Little carry down, and you could see some people moving way in.
You know, well, with the amount of two-handers and high rev rates that we do have in the field, I mean, you know, Landon's no stranger to, you know, 5th-6 arrow, doing a little loft if he has to. Trey and Ricksmeyer, same thing. Plenty of folks with that ability, so we very well could see that.
But yeah, you know, if the pattern carries down, all of a sudden turns into about a 50-foot pattern. You know, you're going to be barely getting the ball to the right of the head pin.
Looking for the This is looking for the 1-3, and any way you can get there. You know, the simple approach for the long pattern might be really in play. Hey, let's just get it to the 1-3 and leave 9. And maybe the medium pattern is the pattern where you kind of get some pins or try to make a run at the finals.
Yeah.
Anyway, give me a couple final thoughts, so to speak, on what we watched here this morning from your vantage point.
Yeah, just first of all, super impressive. Just, you know, even the patience and just they stay in the moment and they keep grinding. You know, you don't really see people, you know, getting super frustrated and just kind of throwing away frames. You know, that's really impressive to start. We touched on definitely fundamentals. You know, just so many just really solid at the foul line and really making quality shots. But, no, I think that short pattern probably played a smidge tougher than I expected. I thought maybe scores would be a little higher than that, or maybe even a couple people really kind of get away and run away a little bit. But nobody really, I mean, I think the one girl, she had a pretty comfortable lead. Yeah, but outside of that, I mean, nobody was really running away and hiding, you know, from anybody. Like you said, we hear these 200 overs for 5, you know, kind of a thing. Nobody really got into that. So, but no, it was a tough pattern. Looked fair. I didn't see any one style that looked shut out or anything like that. We saw Griffin, even game 5, playing really straight up the outside, had a great look, and then saw Landon and Rush and some other people getting in and shaping it and had a good look, and so I think that's ideal. I think that's what we want. Just
absolutely,
you know, make quality shots, make the right adjustments, get lined up for your game, and you have a chance. You never wanted to see where one style is the only one that gets a strike. You know, I think that. But no, it was great. I appreciate you having me up in the booth. It was a good time.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Again, we'll start announcements at 2 o'clock with practice at roughly 2:15. So announcements and awards at 2. Practice roughly 2:15. We'll be on the
There you go. Announcements and awards at 2. So we will have awards for the block leaders of the short pattern. They will be recognized during right before practice this afternoon. And again, long pattern will begin. We'll have those announcements at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. I believe that is right at the kickoff of the Iowa game. I believe I've heard correctly yesterday, by a couple people.
Yeah, it's been a big issue around here. Streaming only, not on any local TVs. So people are trying to scary figuring out. The other place will be showing
the OP.
it. We will be streaming it. My last shameless plug for the day. So
that's right. Go watch the Iowa game at the OP,
right.
and then have your phone out, and then pull up Bowl Stream TV on YouTube, and you can also then watch the long pattern of 5 games this afternoon for the Midwest Youth main event. Andy, appreciate you. Always a pleasure.
Always
Thank you so much.
Sir. Yeah, it was a good time.
And, folks, that's going to do it for us here for the short pattern. Be sure to check bowlmetrics.com for the updated standings now that everyone is complete. We'll be back at it in about 90 minutes right here on Bowl Stream TV. I want to thank all of the sponsors, High Five Gear, the Greater Cedar Valley USBC, Roto Grip, and ADS Recycling. Also, of course, Cadillac XBC, our wonderful venue. Hampton Inn, the other place, Experience Waterloo, and everyone who had a part, of course, in the Midwest Youth main event, and, of course, the YBSF with Ann and Josh, Angie, Brandon, Matthew, Kelly, and everyone in between. So we'll see you in about 90 minutes. Until then, you guys be safe, be well, enjoy the break, and we'll talk to you soon. This has been a presentation of the short pattern here, the Midwest Youth main event. Watch it live and only on Bowl Stream TV. We'll see you this afternoon.